This platform is independent, and we wanted to work with everyone across the spectrum. So folks are invited to share what they know, and the viewers makes their choice, and we ask the questions and we give the opportunity to answer.
This craziness, man, I do not care. Why am I so anti-establishment? Because of what I've seen the establishment do to people. That's why I cannot be pro-establishment.
Power is in the hands of the people. And it really did. What we all witnessed is the government, they knew that they're heading in the wrong direction. They knew Gambians are speaking in the same voice.
What law in the books that says the government has power to come out and go after folks' private citizens' properties and demolish them because somehow the government interest?
The only way that we can salvage our country is when everybody that gets their hand dirty. Don't sit there with your expertise and just to procrastinate everything that people say or pontificate, what everybody says or does. Let's get our hands dirty.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. Before we left last Sunday, we said we will be back, inshallah. It looks like here we are again, Brother Marong. Another Sunday.
Inshallah.
It always works, doesn't it? Ain't that right, my brother?
That's true.
It really does. Brother Pap Samba, coming from the nation's capital. What's going on?
For saying it right. Huh? Thanks for saying it right.
I am saying it right. Huh? So how are you? It's good to have you today. Live, at least you're not going to be at work and kind of every now and then you want direct, you don't like to hear you comment, just say your thing and then sign off.
No, but I was here last week, wasn't I?
We see you live and direct. So
I was here last week though.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Wasn't I here? I was.
No, you were. You were here.
What was last week again? I can't even remember. That's what
it comes with old age.
Yeah.
It comes with old age.
Time really flies. It's going to be an interesting Sunday, of course. We're going to have the movement in the house. The spokesperson in Kemo Bojang is going to be joining us. But before that, for the first hour, I think, we are having a Dr. Sonko. A Gambian who, I think he's from Colorado, currently working in Maryland or Washington, D.C. area. He's having an interesting proposition, what he calls diaspora health, to be launched in the Gambia. Again, I've been kind of, just going through, see what this diaspora health is all about. But I thought it's important to kind of, a young guy, very smart. And I think moves like this is going to make a huge difference in the health sector in the Gambia. Was it a few years ago that we had Innoforex, Pap Samba, you remember?
Yep.
And they launched a similar effort, but I think this one is a little bit different. And we're going to hear from Dr. Sonko. I think it's going to be interesting. And looking forward to hear from him. And then, of course, the main menu would be Brother Kemo Bojang, the spokesperson of the movement. He's going to tell us what this movement is all about. And we're going to ask the tough questions like we always do. We can always raise our hands, Brother Marong, and say, the independent platform. That's what we do. We bring people here. We only represent one constituency. It's called for the people, by the people. And ain't nothing going to change that. Brother Marong, what say you?
No, I was gonna zip on my coffee. I nearly. Coach, what say you, Coach?
No. Because Musa is in his element today. So this is the Musa Soliloquy. So he was here so early and enjoying Fonseje. So maybe he would also give us a dose of that today. Because when I came in, I was in the lobby. He didn't even see me. He was just listening to Fonseje.
Musa, you have to be fair, Nak. You have to talk about that too.
Oh, you mean the welcome?
Oh yeah, I think that was good. But
the opening salve was to be about that.
About. We had the
it's fair and balanced.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, and Jammeh's pardoning. I think that man has lost his marble.
No, but Sarang, not to take anything away from it though. I think, as always, vintage, my cousins, they saw up. They did what they had to do. And then, you have to give it to to Mr. Dabo. I mean, he looks good. That is one thing you can't take away from him. I mean, this whole idea of age and disconnect, I think his mental acuity is there. I mean, physically, he looks healthy. And he was, I think the whole thing went okay, really. I mean, no surprises. And of course, when we talk to Kamo, we're gonna get into all of that. And we'll ask the questions. But again, I have to salute my cousins, as always. I mean, the passion. In as much as a lot of guys, though, coming from Badibu South, they did what they had to do. As usual.
That's good. Good.
So it was interesting, definitely. I called it, you know what I call it? I think I was teasing Natamas. I said, on Saturday, they're going to go through what I call a therapy, because going through a very rough month. This would be the therapy, They feel good. And I think they did. Their supporters felt very good that, hey, here we are, we're alive. And
but that also they lost one of their big supporters on her way from the provinces to attend that. So that's why they didn't do any drumming or anything like that, because she got into a car accident too. So
wow. Yeah, that was very, very sad.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate, but it is what they have to they have to regulate those roads. I'm telling you right now. This morning I woke up, a bus wants to pass a tractor, and you can see how that is, and it collided with another incoming vehicle.
Oh my God! Fatalities?
Huh? Well, there was injuries, but no fatalities. So we'll see.
It's crazy, and I want to extend my condolences to the UDP for the passing of Jammeh, because I saw everybody. In fact, I read Kimo Bojang writing about her and her commitment to the party and all that. And it's very sad, because definitely one thing that you gotta give the UDP is their commitment to their party. They believe in the party, they love the power, and and I think that was in full glare yesterday, like they do every time, because most of this thing is organic. It's not like the UDP has the money where they bribe people to come out and say, "Let me." No, most of these people love Mr. Dabo like crazy, and would go to any length to show their support to him. And you gotta give them that, definitely. And I think the strength of any political party is to be able to galvanize support, and especially support that is not necessarily transactional. People who are committed to the cause and would stay the course. And the UDP has demonstratively shown that year in, year out for every election. Now, has it been able to get them over the hump? No. But at least, there is a reason why they continue to be a force in our Gambian politics. Definitely. And, it was good seeing, you load of stuff. Wherever it is, you cannot miss it. So they were all over the place. And Anybody who had followed the UDP knew that this was going to be one way they were not going to, nobody's going to be left behind, because there were people who were determined to show that we are still here. In spite of the resignations or defections, we want to show everybody that we are here, we are committed to this man and all that. But, and interestingly though, most is, because our politics is going through a very interesting period. The next 5 years would be the end for a lot of people who've been very, very instrumental in our politics. Because whether we like it or not, unless Mr. Dabo wins the next presidency election, there is no way that will be contesting 2031. And that would have closed a chapter for the UDP that they've been struggling to close for a very long time. And I think that's what brought us to where we are today with the, what do they call that? The movement and all that people are saying, so it's going to be interesting. And
yes, but what do they call it? It's not organic. It depends. I kind of pull my Webster's dictionary to see what does the meaning organic means. But like I said, go ahead.
Hey, but anyway, another thing happened though. Our delusional dictator, maybe he missed making declarations on Fridays, told the whole world that he was going to be making an announcement, only to come and say, I have pardoned everybody that I have expelled from the party. I'm like, who cares about you and your pardoning? And there he was. And when I listened to Jammeh, there were periods when I felt so sorry for him. Our older people used to always, that's what that's their prayer. And to listen to Jammeh most, I don't wish that for even my enemies. For somebody who at one point proclaimed to be the owner of the country, to now be running your party through WhatsApp messaging, and every now and then you'll make a declaration, I have fired Mr. This, I have fired this person, I'm not going to allow this in my party, I own my party. And then the next day you go, okay, I've pardoned everybody that I fired. But don't think that when you come back, the position that you held, you'll still get it. No, you have to bring something to the table. You have to make sure you have a following. I'm like, oh my. But I think the guy is sick. Mentally, he always knew that he's a sick guy. But if you listen to him very carefully, I think there is something wrong with him, health-wise.
So,
but he's just.
So you said something interesting. You said this will be the last hurrah come 2031, basically the generational shift. I'm like, not if you're from Cameroon. My man is kicking it. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And I don't know. Are they still counting, or have they already?
Oh no, the elections are over. Paul Biya has won 53% of the votes. Everybody in that, what do they call it, the Senegalese thing, Constitutional Council or whatever?
Yes.
It's a lucky of his. I think the guy who heads it is about 90-something years old, just like him. So Paul Biya is not going to lose elections in Cameroon. Cameroonians have been wishing for one thing and one thing only, for his death. They will tell you, oh, I hope he dies now so that we'll have change. And I think that's the only way that this guy has been president since 1982.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It's just sad.
Anyway, shift gears. The first phase of tonight's program is going to be something new. Diaspora Health, they call it. We're joined by Dr. Sonko, and you would have to pardon me, your partner. But let me allow them to introduce themselves. Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to the 40 People by the People.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, really, really honored to be on this platform with you all.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us. I'll let Issa introduce himself, but I'm Dr. Lamin Sonko. I'm actually living in Philadelphia right now, but born in the Gambia, and started Diaspora Health alongside Issa. Really excited to join you guys and kind of talk about the work we're doing in Gambia.
Yeah. As Lamin mentioned, My name is Isa. I'm not Gambian. I'm from Guinea-Conakry, but my family and I moved here to New York when I was younger. And with Lamin, we've just worked on last few years Diaspora Health, really just trying to find ways to provide healthcare for the loved ones of diaspora individuals in Gambia. So
Wonderful. Welcome to the platform. I think to kind of at least give our viewers what this diaspora health is all about, I'm just going to go ahead and play this video. I think it would kind of at least give them before you guys can delve into the details. Let's all watch this.
Hello, and welcome to Diaspora Health. Thank you for joining the Diaspora Health Emergency Transport Plan. This revolutionary plan is the first of its kind in the Gambia and will enable you to request ambulance pickup and transportation to the nearest medical facility from anywhere in the Gambia. This video will show you how to use this important service to protect yourself and your loved ones in the case of medical emergency. Let's get started. To begin, you or your diaspora sponsor must first register in order to be able to use the service. At sign up, an email will be sent requesting completion of registration via a secure link. Of note, users may register up to 4 loved ones via phone number under a single plan. Loved ones will need a working WhatsApp number in order to use the service. Once registered, you will receive a WhatsApp text message confirming your registration and welcoming you to the service. In the case of emergency, requesting an ambulance is easy. There are 2 ways to request Diaspora Health's emergency transport services. The first way is to send a WhatsApp message containing the words "help" to the emergency transport number. The system will then request your location and alert the ambulance team of your emergency. If you do not share your location, we will try our best to find you, but it may be difficult to find your exact location. You will receive a confirmation message when the transportation team has received your request, and you will receive a call from the ambulance team to confirm dispatch to your location. Please note, it is very important that you do not turn your phone off after you request a pickup so that we can reach you by phone. The second option is to call the toll-free number for Diaspora Health's emergency transport. The system will ask you to confirm that this is a medical emergency and will ask you to press the number 1 to confirm that this is a medical emergency. You will then receive a WhatsApp message to share your location for pickup. Again, if you do not share your location, we will try our best to find you, but it may be difficult to find your exact location. And that's it. You now have access to Gambia's most advanced emergency medical response system. We hope to enable this life-saving technology for as many Gambians as possible. Join us in making this a reality by sharing this with family, friends, and your loved ones. Thanks for being a part of Diaspora Health, where modern care comes home.
Yes, and here we have it. Obviously, there was the other video that kind of gets into the medical aspect. This is basically the transportation aspect. For whatever reason, I couldn't download it, but I guess you will be able to delve into it. So, Dr. Sonko, there are a lot of people that are listening. I mean, what is this thing all about?
Yeah. No, and thanks for allowing us to kind of share what we're working on at the Diaspora Health on this platform. So Isa and I started Diaspora Health shortly after I finished medical school and started residency. So I'm an emergency medicine physician, and like so many Gambians in the diaspora, we have families that are either going back to Gambia, like for example, my parents. They've been in Colorado for several years, but are going back to retire back in Gambia. And so being in the United States and being a doctor, one of the things that was always on my mind was how do we ensure that our loved ones back home get the best care? Specifically being here and sending money back home for healthcare, for all sorts of reasons, we often lose that element of security and not knowing the best care is available for our families back home. And so we started Diaspora Health as a way to really give peace of mind to those living in the diaspora to be able to give their loved ones advanced modern healthcare. And so we started first with primary care. So we have a medical director. Her name is Dr. Yapatu Job, and she oversees a care team of very talented nurses that go into the patient's house. They do the history, the physical, they get blood work if needed, and then we set them up with a free electronic health record so that we can track all of their, so that patients are empowered to have their own health records, because in Gambia and in like so many other sub-Saharan African countries, there's less than 5% of total healthcare visits are actually recorded electronically. And so all across the country, all across the continent, it's primarily paper records. And so that causes huge delays in care, causes missed appointments, it causes so many issues related to patients' care. And so we give all of our patients a free electronic health record, and then we follow up with them through our team of doctors and nurses on the ground.
Yeah. And to Lamin's point, so similar to Lamin, moved to the States when I was younger, but having seen my parents send money back all the time, and I think like many Gambians, like I've also have gotten into the habit of sending money back home, specifically to my grandmother in Guinea. And for her, the healthcare is the biggest challenge. We're sending money for food, but it's largely around healthcare, especially as she ages. But this becomes like a major expense and a concern overall. One, because you're constantly sending money back. Two, you're not really sure of the services that you're getting. And there are all these stories of, you send money back. Like you could say it's for healthcare, I need to go to the doctor, but grandma might go to like the karamoko, like the spiritual healer, the herbalist, the pharmacist, before she eventually goes to the doctor to see a hospital, to see an actual specialist. And by then, so many things would have gone wrong, and then you're on the hook when it comes back again. And like it's so interesting because very early on in our journey, one of the organizations we spoke to was this nonprofit in Ghana, and their model essentially was when patients get really sick, at the very last minute, they try to find funding to send these patients overseas, which is not sustainable at all. But a lot of us have fallen into this habit where either because our loved ones are not getting consistent medical care, and that's not being like documented, or there's just no follow-up. It's at the very last minute. Then you have to like send a loved one overseas. But we found that for a lot of the patients in the organization, is chronic diseases, things that could be managed, diabetes, hypertension, all these other issues that if you actually provide a consistent primary care, you're not on the hook for, let's say, $1,000, $2,000 to have to fly mom to Europe, to have to fly mom to the US or Asia. So that was a lot of our thinking, because we know so many diaspora members, whether Gambian, Guineans across Africa, experience this. And we could dive a little bit deeper into just some of the other like nuances within the Gambian economy, as well, just the other broader healthcare challenges that we've seen in Gambia.
So let's say I'm here in the diaspora, and we've gone through this thing before with Innovarex. And I have my sister who happens to live in Kaul, in the provincial areas. She has diabetes, she has high blood pressure. And now, if I really want to kind of, where do I start, in other words, if I want to make sure that she is taken care of with these ailments, with this effort that you're launching? How do I go about it?
Yeah, it's a great question, and that's really a ongoing challenge. So honestly, right now we're so 70% of the country lives in Banjul, Serakund, like the greater Banjul area, and so right now our at-home primary care visits and our model really is only reaching those patients. Unfortunately, because Gambia, a huge amount of the population does also live in the rural areas. Right now, we don't have the resources to reach those people yet. But that's partly why we came up with our emergency transport plan as well, because in a lot of cases, if someone is severely ill or sick in the rural areas, they have to figure out transportation, and it was actually a huge barrier for us and a huge challenge for us in dealing with our own patients, because sometimes they would go out to the rural areas and need emergency medical care. And having that be a huge barrier, we realized that a way that we could bridge that is actually by bringing ambulance services and really connecting existing pieces on the ground to be able to pick and reach those patients to bring them back to like the teaching hospital in Banjul, for example. But to answer your question more directly, right now we're really unable to service those individuals in the rural areas. But we hope that as we expand, we'll be able to hire nurses there in the more rural provinces to see those patients.
Yeah, Brother Marong.
Thank you, Dr. Lamin Sonko. And what's the brother's name again? What's your name?
Yeah, Isa
Isa.
Silla.
Yeah. Just to let you know, I have an uncle that is Dr. Karamo Sonko, and I have nephews that are Lamin Sonko, and I have cousins that are Lamin Sonkos as well. So, he studied in Colorado Springs too, but he lives in Dubai.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
But
where does he live? I'm sorry.
He lives in Dubai.
I think we might know him, Lamin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So Lamin, I listened to you, and I just kind of wanted to talk about the architectural build-up, and you mentioned about signing up, but we also know that there are a lot of folks who cannot text and who will not be able to respond to messages like family members and so forth. So how do we replicate that? So is there a sort of a helpline or folks that are able to help them out? Because if you tell someone to type in living in Brigham, an elderly person, they might not be able to even know what the text is all about. How
or
do
what
they
the number
respond?
is and how they do that even. No, it's a great question. And it's one that we've thought a lot about as well. And, so one of the things that we've done is in addition to having it be WhatsApp enabled, so most Gambians are on WhatsApp. So we've enabled that for text, but we've also have a toll-free number as well. And then finally, in many of these emergency situations, the family member is actually calling, their loved one, or like someone else is with them. And so we've enabled it such that you can request ambulance services even here in the US for a family member abroad. And so we essentially want to reduce the barriers to accessing great high quality care. And so if people aren't able to text, but they call their family members, their family member is able to request the ambulance for another individual as well. And just to kind of talk and dive a little bit more about the architecture and how we actually build this, we aren't we essentially build the technology that connects the ambulance team. So the ambulance team is actually our vendor is Riders for Health Gambia. So Riders for Health, we have a partnership with them, and they currently carry out all of the inter-facility transports for the Ministry of Health. And they've been operational in the country for over a decade. They carry out over 17,000 ambulance transports a year. So we wanted to make sure that we partnered with a very reliable and trusted and trustworthy source in order to ensure that when a patient needs help and when a patient calls for ambulance services, we are getting the best available team to them.
All right, thank you. Also, my other question was, do you guys have like a staff on the ground who, for example, if there's, billing issues or that person couldn't get the medication and stuff, how do we get that support structure in place? And what is that like to ensure that there's continuity of services, especially? And also, is there a short term, long term? If you sign up, is it for 6 months, 1 year? How does the service structure looks like as well?
Yep. Yeah, it's another great question. The way that our clinical model is built is around a model where we hire a medical director. So we have Dr. Job, who's on the ground. And then we have also a team of some of the best nurses in Gambia. So essentially, the nurses carry out the in-person home visits. They also pick up and do the medication pickup and drop off. And then all of that is really directed by Dr. Job. So essentially it's physician directed, nurse led. So the nurses are in home doing the in-home visits, and then the doctor is the one carrying out the care plan, calling up, following up with the patients. Our belief is that one of the things that is really lacking in the country that we really hope to innovate around is modern primary care. So much of Gambia healthcare is centered around emergency visits and around like immediate like need, right? But what we lack from doing that is continuity of care, which we address by giving everyone a free electronic health record. We also lack, we also address this by having a longitudinal primary care where Dr. Job follows up on the patient in essentially monthly. So each patient is guaranteed at least a monthly visit if requested, and then follow-up care for their long-term health issues. The idea is, we just like here in the United States or in the UK, you're able to, have a primary care physician that follows you throughout your life. We want to replicate the same thing on the continent as well.
Thank you.
And so like in regards to payment, it's monthly. So it's as needed, as monthly. But the idea is it's a subscription per month, and you can sign up for however long you see fit. But our customers that have signed on, the vast majority really enjoy the services, and it's always heartwarming to hear the patients that we're able to help and really make a difference.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Now, the question that I have in the Gambia, the issues that we are confronted with for the most part are hypertension, diabetes, and all that. So which areas, I know you guys have primary healthcare, which areas are you most focused on? Or do you guys just do it all?
Yeah, so our focus is really around general practice. If there is an emergency need, while we can transport the patient to the nearest health facility, even though I'm an emergency medicine doctor, I don't think we have the resources right now to safely administer those capabilities in the Gambia. So really around primary care, and so you mentioned diabetes, hypertension. We also have some patients with chronic pain. We also have patients with COPD or like chronic lung issues. And then also one thing that we're also trying to innovate around is post-stroke care. So, Gambia doesn't have a certified, neuro center or like a stroke center. However, we know the severely disabling deficits that come with stroke. And so often these patients will then subsequently develop hypertension or longstanding chronic health issues. And so being able to navigate that is very important. So much of our frustrations in building or in coming up in devising Diaspora Health has been around our experience, having to essentially play the role of doctor for our family members back home. We expect Gambians living in the US or across the world to really have to figure out how to navigate the care for their loved ones, which is extremely daunting. Even in the West, navigating healthcare is extremely challenging. Now expecting to do that for your family member is even, is an order of magnitude more difficult. And so the whole idea is, how do we simplify and make caring for your family members back home as seamless and as modern and as easy as possible? And so right now we're doing really just primary care. And so we talked about kind of the emergency transportation system. We talked about the in-person home visits. But then the other thing that we're also proud to, just launch a few months ago has been our trusted medication platform. And so we've partnered with SHS and Dr. Bemba Jabi, who I'm not sure you guys actually, I don't think he was on the podcast, but he's a great doctor. He's here based in the United States, but he actually has a pharmacy called SHS Pharmacy that really only imports FDA and EU certified medications into Gambia. So we know that pharmacovigilance and counterfeit medications is a huge issue in the country, and so we're very proud to have partnered with them to be able to give our patients really only the best quality medications available.
Now, the next question that I have, maybe it's for Isa. Now, medical transportation is one thing, but having trained personnel on those ambulances is another, because sometimes that the stabilization itself would start from picking the person up and stabilizing them to going to the hospital where they will be taken care of. And if you look at the Gambia, and maybe it's true for Guinea, too, a lot of people die in that country because they are not trained people to do CPR. A simple CPR could have saved somebody's life, because you can be here and doing whatever it is. They will just be looking at you. Benga said, and you know what, yeah, lack or whatever. So, are your personnel trained? Your ambulances to where if they were picking you up and you needed CPR or you needed anything to stabilize you to get to a doctor, that you'll be getting that care.
Yeah. So as Lemon mentioned earlier, we are partnering with Riders for Health, and they are directly working with the Ministry of Health and have been the ones in charge of inter-facility transports. So again, this is an organization that currently transports over 17,000 emergency calls annually. They've been in the Gambian system for over 10 years. So they have personnel who are trained with like EMT certifications actually like on site when they respond to emergencies. They have the capabilities to respond then and ensure that patient is effectively transported to actually receive the care that they need at a certain facility.
Yeah, I mean, in Gambia, there's no paramedic service. So for example, paramedics, at least in Gambia, is pretty rare. So oftentimes a nurse will be in the ambulance, like on the visits. Now, to guarantee that, we in the future we actually aim to hire a dedicated, essentially like a dedicated paramedic and a first responder to be on that ambulance. But I'd say right now, in 75% of the cases, there isn't, or there is a nurse on the ambulance ride. But there is a minority of cases where there isn't a trained person besides the transportation team. So that is an area that is really, really important, and I'm glad you brought that up as well. Yeah. Just to kind of push back, or not push back, but also to, I guess, elaborate on that as well. While first responding, I think, is very important, I think it's even more important just to get to the hospital in the first place, right? Like all of the things that happen during that transportation is very critical and important, but I think the first step is really addressing the issue that Gambians just aren't making it in a timely way to the hospital to begin with. And so I think we start from there, and then we improve that entire continuity and plan of care.
So, Dr. Sonko, as I listen very carefully, like in my opening remarks, I talked about Innovarex because that's the one that we were kind of acquainted with Dr. Haji. I don't know whether you know who he is.
Yeah.
And the way he went about it, he launched this effort. He opened a clinic in the Gambia, his own clinic, and ordered medicines into the country as well. As I listen to you, it looks like you guys have a technology, and then you have what I would call partners. You mentioned, as far as the ambulance services is concerned, you're working with Riders for Health. And then most Gambians would say the ambulance services in the Gambia, even going through Ministry of Health, is abysmal. I mean, it's seriously bad. So one would be thinking, okay, they're partnering with a very bad service. It's not like you guys have brand new ambulances that you guys own, service delivery totally different and new. You're partnering with what Gambians would think not a very good service. And at the same time, too, you're partnering with clinics that are in the Gambia per se. So in terms of, you guys may not even have control as far as service delivery is concerned. You're working with a particular clinic, and I mean, is that or is there a lot more to it in terms of your involvement in this new effort?
Yeah. No, it's a good pushback. Yeah, I mean, with partnering with any vendors, one has to obviously be mindful that we're not often directly controlled or controlling the quality of service delivery, which is why the stance that we take actually is partnering with very trusted health partners. So I mentioned SHS Pharmacy, which stands for Sahelian Health Services. And so we vet very closely all of our partners. But in terms of our own clinical delivery, what we do, hire directly, which we think is the most important, is we hire our medical director, Dr. Yafatu Job, and then we also hire our team of nurses. Because from my experience as a physician, it's really the in-person as well as the physician-led services that really make the difference in healthcare. And specifically, the aspect that we're really trying to address that I spoke about is really addressing basic primary care that is governed by modern and clinically validated approaches to healthcare. And so that starts with our in-person primary care visits. And then these other services, these ancillary services, such as medication delivery, emergency transportation, I think all of that over time gets innovated on as we expand and as we grow. So again, kind of just to summarize, I think while right now we have trusted health vendors, we do a very good job about vetting those vendors. But the things that we do control, I think, are the most important, which is the physicians and our nurses.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So let's say a lot of people are watching this and they might be interested. Their folks live in the Greater Banjul area. So how do they go about basically registering? Can you kind of walk us through that? I live in Atlanta. I have my uncle in Brikama, and I want to enroll him in this program. How do I go about it?
Yeah.
Go ahead,
It's
Isam.
quite straightforward, actually. We have our website, www.diasporahealth.co. And from there, we have a very simple sign-up membership page whereby you have the options of selecting the type of service, whether it's the EMS service or the actual like full premium primary care monthly like routine visits. And it's as simple as you just click the button, you enter your details, and make sure you enter your loved one's information. Because once that comes in on our end, then the systems, everything will flow such that Dr. Job and our nurses will get in contact with your loved one on the ground to now begin initiating care. So we begin onboarding your loved one. We make sure that first visit takes place so that our nurses can get as much information as possible. Dr. Job will follow up. In the back end, we'll create this electronic health record, as Lyman mentioned before, that will now connect to you and your loved one. Of course, your loved one has to approve that we can share their information with you. But once all that is in place, our nurses will then routinely, monthly, as your loved one requests, will go to visit your loved one. And all that information, you have full visibility. Like when a visit has taken place, you'll get the summary note from Dr. Job as well, telling you, this is what we've observed during this visit. Here are recommendations. So you get full visibility into what's actually happening, full visibility into where your money is actually going. So it's as simple as sign up, you yourself, your details, put your loved one's information, and then from there on, we manage your loved one's care.
Can you go through the finances though? In other words,
Yeah.
enrolling, how much will I pay? And
Yeah, absolutely. So it's $45.99 per month, and this comes with the monthly visits, like routine visits as requested by your loved one. This comes with a $4,000 medical supply stipend that we set aside locally for your loved one. So essentially, we will like put together $4,000 that we keep on the ground for if your loved one needs medications, bandages, even transportation to to a facility. Because we know there are instances where maybe mom on the ground just needs a few $100 for some medication, but she doesn't have it. But just to prevent that gap of her having to call you somewhere in the world, we just make sure that that is a dedicated amount for her. So the $45.99 comes with the visits, the $4,000 in supply stipend, the medication pickup and delivery from trusted sources. In addition to this, the electronic health record. The first month is completely free. So you get to trial it out. But really, during this first month, we try to do our best to ensure that labs, tests, as much information is collected, because as Lemon mentioned before, a lot of visits are taken pen and paper, or there's just no continuity. So we oftentimes will not have your loved ones like historical records. So during this first month, like while it's free, we try to work as hard as we can just to get like labs, tests, as much information as we can, just to now build together a very personalized care plan for your loved one moving forward. And then from there on, it's $45.99 a month, and then you have the option of canceling whenever you see fit. And then we also keep it flexible, where if you want to sign up for a year, you can also do that at a discounted price.
Interesting. Brother Maron.
All right, thank you. My other question to you is, and I'm more stated on the technology part, because I think architecture is everything. So there's time differences. I live on the West Coast. I have a family member. When we roll the clock back, it's probably going to be 8 hours. I mean, sometimes when they need urgent medical care, I might not be in the position, or I'll be in bed to respond or even offer help. My question to you is, if someone who could not read or text, and there is a responder come to them and they need immediate help, how do we replicate that? Is there going to be some type of a voice recording in the local languages, whereby even though I'm not available, but because they need an urgent medical care, there is some type of a responsive mechanism to ensure that they need to get to where they need to be?
I think I'm just trying to understand. So like for example, here in are you you said you're on the West Coast? You're where?
Hey, I'm in the West Coast. Yes.
Okay, so if you were at home right now and had an emergency, how would you call or contact help?
Oh, I would call. I'm talking about the people, say Gambian time, my time here right now. I mean, if per se during like 7 a.m. or per se 3 p.m. or different times, whereby there's a huge time difference, and that applies to everyone across who lives in diaspora, wants to offer this help to family members downstream. So what I'm saying is, if they try to offer for me to help them and link them with someone, and I am not available at that time, and they have a language barrier, they cannot respond to text messages. There was text message, they can't read it. Is there a help? There is a way to help them out, in order to say, if they're in Brikama and they need to go to a clinic. And because you mentioned location, and I think one thing that I just, we will try our best to find you. So that in that case, how do you actually find them if there is these challenges that I just mentioned? And these are real challenges, by the way.
Yeah, no, these are very real challenges. So just to kind of walk through the way that we've designed the architecture, because I really agree with you. I think the architecture and the way that we structure it is very important, is key. So so the first is access, as you point out. So right now, the primary way to request an ambulance for our services is through WhatsApp. Let's say you can't WhatsApp, but you still have a phone. Really, you would still need a phone to call the services. So once you call the services, that sends a dispatch via our system to our ambulance team. Our dispatcher then calls the phone that sent the request locally. So our Gambian dispatcher calls the person who is requesting the ambulance. I also receive that call, and then our doctor, Dr. Job, also receives that dispatch notification as well. So there's 3 points of failure that need to happen in order for a dispatch to go unanswered. So the local dispatcher needs to, not see the message. I need to not see the message, or Dr. Yafatu Job needs to not see the message. So it's really designed to be as error proof as possible. So once the dispatcher receives the notification, they then call the loved one, which is why in the video we say, please make sure you keep your phone on, right? Because unfortunately, if the dispatcher, let's say they did not share their location and the dispatcher is unable to reach them, then in that situation, it's very, very difficult to find that person. Similarly, I mean, it'd be the same case here. If you called 911 and it was an emergency and then you hung up, the way that works is that it tries to triangulate based on cell phone data where your location is, but oftentimes that just gives you a radius, gives you a ballpark. We've tried to replicate the same features in our emergency transportation system there. So I guess to summarize and answer your question more directly, our local team reaches out to the person who sent the request to ensure that they are that they can find the person as best they can.
Yeah, that was very, very great. That's what I was pretty much looking for. Yes, that's what I was looking. So that was great. So the follow-up question too is in terms of technology. We know obviously there's electricity issues and stuff like that, and if in case someone not able to operate their WhatsApp messages and all that, because that is internet based, if they don't have is there a local number, say if they call, that someone can call them back and speak to them and ask them what kind of help do they need?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. And that's through our toll-free number. So when people call the toll-free number, that information gets routed to us. And again, it's the same system. So like, let's say they call the toll-free number, and then on that number page, they're asked to press 1 or press the number 1 if this is a true emergency. So if they press 1, we collect their phone data and then transmit that to our dispatch, who is then able to call locally as well. So a working phone, it doesn't necessarily need to be WhatsApp enabled, because we understand, that's intermittent. Some, people, aren't always online. And so the toll-free number is our way to circumvent that issue as well.
Okay, just a follow-up question. So if you say that these numbers, if they're saying dial 1 for help, so is that going to be in various languages or just in English?
Yeah, great question. Yes. Right now it's in English, but we are also going to have it in Wolof and Mandinka as well.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
So go ahead. We have about 5-10 minutes. I mean,
yeah, I just have one question, and thank you guys so very much for what you're doing. But oftentimes, many Gambians who go to the Gambia to set up any business face serious bottlenecks. What are the challenges that you have faced, and what have you been able to do to mitigate those challenges to make sure that you'll be able to establish a business that would function the way that it should?
Yeah. But I can like name one of them. I think trust, broadly speaking, given when you leave, many of us who are leaving our home countries for a certain reason, we know the context we're leaving. We left because there aren't jobs. We left because the economy isn't this, the infrastructure isn't this, and that applies directly to healthcare. I think for anyone who tells you, oh, I'll take care of your mom in Gambia and I'll do it better, the first thought is, well, I know Gambia's healthcare system isn't that good. That would be like the first thought. And then, so that automatically now is like, well, you need to build trust. So then, like to Lavin's point earlier, the medication delivery, the medication procurements, that is one of the areas where like we've carved out trust in addition to the premium home-based care services. And for the medication aspect of it, we know just the recent history of the fraudulent medications, babies dying from cough syrup. So we were very strategic and very intentional with partnering with Dr. Jabi, who is here locally based, and to make sure that we are able to procure quality medication. Like as Dr. Sanko mentioned, his medications are EU and FDA certified. And we make sure that this is one of the points that we do not get wrong across all the other services as well. But we will often refer to people like, yo, Malak Pharmacy. Oh, yeah, so it's trusted pharmacy. Okay, that's great. We work directly with the individual that they're getting their medications from. So we're going directly from the source and ensuring that we are getting quality medications. But trust is one of the main things that, one of the main problems we've definitely come up against.
Yeah. And just to kind of add one more point as well on that, I agree with Issa totally, and that's why we partnered with Sahelian Health Solutions for our pharmacies. But the other, I think, big issue as well is trying to directly reach more local Gambians. So a big issue is right now the way that you purchase our services and that you sign up is through the diaspora. Our goal in our future, in our kind of future strategy and plan, is to directly have products that local Gambians themselves can enroll in. But we have to start somewhere, and we think that this is a great place to start. We recognize there's a lot of work to still do to, as Issa said, kind of bridge that trust barrier. But we do think there's a huge amount of innovation and a huge amount of low-hanging fruit that is ripe for the picking. And we think as immigrants from our home country being afforded all the luxuries we have here, I think the least we can do is really try to innovate as best we can and bring solutions to local Gambians themselves. And so that's the next step. We have a few announcements kind of coming up in the few months that we're excited to reveal, and to have local Gambians themselves be able to access our services as well.
Dr. Sonko, Issa, we thank you immensely. I mean, this platform, we will always we'll continue to partner with you. I'll be talking to you guys behind the scenes, and we see how this platform can also help to reach quite a few Gambians in the diaspora as well.
Faramos.
Yes, sir.
I have a special request for those who joined lately. They could not hear what Dr. Sonko and Issa could say. Absolutely. I know Kemo is there, but if they could recap for 2 minutes what their program is about, and how folks who joined lately, they wanted to hear what you guys have to offer in 2 minutes. If you guys can summarize for the good order of our brothers and sisters who might be interested. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. And again, thank you for the opportunity. So Issa and I created Diaspora Health as a way to build and bring modern primary care services to Gambians back home, but also for their diaspora family members living in the West. We have 3 main offerings. One is emergency transport to the nearest facility in the case of emergency. We've partnered with Riders for Health Gambia, who carry out the Ministry of Health interfacility transports. Our second is trusted medication delivery for our family members back home. And we partnered with Sahelian Health Solutions, our trusted pharmacy partner. And then the third is kind of comprehensive primary care, really trying to replicate a modern primary care service that you would expect here in the US or in the UK, trying to really bring that home in Gambia with at-home nurse visits overseen by our medical director, Dr. Yafatu Job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one. I'll talk to you.
Take care.
All right, take care.
Yeah. Up Samba.
Yeah, this is a good one. But most before Kemo in fact joins, this brings me to one topic that I wanted to bring. I'm not going to name the person yet.
Yeah.
And the challenges that Gambians in the diaspora have in trying to contribute to our nation. There is a Gambian who for 3 years, after the change, he's retired now, was a professor, an economist and all that, an author, decided, you know what, I'm going to put a team together to build a library and a museum that would become the center of research in Africa. But I want to have it in the Gambia. Most for 3 years, this guy has done everything that can be done. Yeah. He has applied for land. He has done everything. He has gathered thousands of books and all these materials that he needs. All he's asking for, not give me a handout, not give me anything underhanded. I am applying for a land. They asked him to pay for the fee. He paid about $1,000 for the fee. Went at one point, they told him they lost his papers. He came back with the receipts. They were able to find the papers all of a sudden. And this guy is running around. And Musa, the sad thing is, other countries, through my communications with him, other countries, Senegal, Nigeria, are trying to convince him to take the project there. And I think the Gambia government would help us all if we become a lot more conscious of this, because it doesn't make sense for somebody who is coming. He's not asking for any handout. He is a Gambian. He just wants to give back. He wants to build a research center in the Gambia that can be utilized by people. It helps with tourism. It helps with employment. It helps with everything. But for 3 years, he has met with almost everybody in that country, including the president.
Very unfortunate.
And every time they give, oh, no problem. We love this. We go to. But for 3 years, they've been giving him the run around. And it's not, and I think I've asked him to come out and say this. He wants to take it easy for now, but it does not tell well for our people, our country, and it shows the lack of seriousness sometimes. Musa.
I understand trying to take it easy, but I don't think it's a bad idea to basically come in a platform like this and talk about what he wants to do and what are some of the challenges. Because if you don't talk about it, then without a doubt, I mean, most likely, I mean, things are not going to get done. If you're trying to do something for 3 years and it hasn't happened, I don't think it's a bad idea to go to some of these platforms and say, look, this is what I intend to do. I think that conversation has to happen. So I think you should convince the individual to come on this platform, especially, and then let's talk about it. I mean, that's the only way change can happen. And talking about it, we come here every Sunday because of partners that we have. And one of them is who? Global Properties, before we go to the movement.
Global Properties observes Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Get tested and know your status.
In honor of the fighters, survivors, and the ones we lost, Global Properties is giving access to women to own a plot of land at Greenville today.
We are making it easy. Buy a plot of land with 0 deposit and 24 monthly payment for only $20,833. Early detections saves lives.
Absanda. Ñaar fukki junne la rek sa ndaw si mun nga koy amal laan in Gunjur. Why are you not doing that? Sarian, you just kind of celebrated your anniversary.
The anniversary gift.
The anniversary kind of.
Idabo du suta Senekan Dabakante say.
Thank you very much.
Mambala nibela advertisement ke bari da bondi suta Senokan Dabakante say. Para most.
Thank you. Properties. Thank you, Bakemo. Welcome again for the people, by the people. It was a year ago that you were on this platform, and here we are again. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Should I call you Kombo Mansa, Bakemo, or the next Serif Diba? All of those names are applicable. I don't know how you want us to go about it. Bakemo, welcome again. I just thought I put a little bit of humor there, my brother. Can you hear us, Kemo?
Kemo Bakau, they send internet videos on. I don't think the internet works in Bakau.
Kemo. I know what it is. Actually, there was a lot of noise coming from his end, and I might have.
So you muted him?
No, not anymore.
Yeah, he cannot hear you, because even if you had muted him, he would have heard you. So the movement, your force Nakaratuda outing in the diaspora.
Can you hear me?
Even if you had muted him.
I can't hear you guys. I can't hear you.
Yeah, but we can hear you though.
I can hear you. Can you hear us now?
Maybe he can.
Maybe Musa, he can log off and come back in.
Kemo, can you log off and come back again?
No, he cannot hear us. So you have to find a way of.
Or you call him and tell him that he can log off and come back in. Faramos.
I believe this. I don't have Kemo's number.
Really, most?
Seriously, I don't.
I will
Only
not
through
say that
Facebook.
on the platform, man. I'm prospective campaign manager.
I am not a campaign manager. I am not a campaign manager. I am a member.
Oh my gracious, the chief strategist. Where is the mojo, man?
I
I think you need to. We could not hear you. Oh no, we could hear you, but you could not hear.
Okay. So, Brother Maron, I mean that's an interesting. That's an interesting. This initiative, Diaspora Health. I think it can be. I think it can work. I mean, I think
absolutely
it's heading in the right direction. I mean, we saw Dr. Baji launch a similar effort, and I think that's the only way that what I would call the health infrastructure gap can be really narrowed when we have things like this, especially Gambians living in the and that is why it's so important to what I would call to build the bridges between Gambians in the diaspora and back home, because I don't see how you can create a viable, developed country without the diaspora really getting involved. And just efforts like this.
And I can hear you guys now. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Oh, we can hear you loud and clear.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I think
All right. Okay.
Is your backup internet that's showing? So it's either the backup internet or the movement internet. So
I think it's sabotage because you get a lot of support.
No,
So
man.
sabotage,
I'm suspecting that. There's a lot of and the sabotage is coming from different angles.
Sabotage, Villa.
But Kemo, it's good to have you. Definitely. Ooh.
We've lost him again. Is that still the sabotage? But Musa, what you were talking about until he comes back about the diaspora thing. You see, when Gambians on the ground stop seeing diasporans as competition and seeing us as people who are coming to take their jobs or people who are opposed to government, then we will not have this issue. But if you continue seeing us, it's echoing.
It's echoing. I don't know. Emo, do you have additional device that he's listening to?
No, I'm not connected to any other. I'm not connected to you guys.
You're good now.
Okay.
And I think Musa, that's the fundamental that we have.
Okay.
So it looks like I'm the one echoing when I speak.
You're echoing.
Hello. You're the one, coach.
Oh, you are echoing too.
I guess all of us are.
I leave and come back.
No, do you? Echoing.
I think he's our technical expert. I don't know.
I don't think it's me.
Well, just maybe we just need to go out and come back in.
Do you think it's a good idea?
Yes, it is. Demo is on. So he can stay on.
I can hear you guys clearly.
It's just we are echoing. Okay, I think it went away now.
It's not echoing on my side.
So Sarian, go ahead. Ask the question. Let's take it forward.
All right, Kemo. Congratulations. First of all, I must congratulate you for your selection as the spokesman for Unite Movement for Change. And wish you all the best. But my first question is, Kemo, you've been in the spotlight lately. And people accuse you of being a betrayer. I'm going to ask you on the record.
Most, let's do when we are not speaking, we mute and see whether we still have that.
Okay.
Hello. Kemo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. So my question to you was, you've been accused. It comes back again. I think Musa, maybe we log off and come back in. I don't know.
But for my side, it's very clear. You You guys are not echoing.
Okay. Can you hear me? Kemo, can you hear me?
Kemo, can you hear me, Kemo?
Yes, I can clearly.
Okay. Bon pas samba more than time you echo.
You're still echoing.
Mom sa manko don dega clearly. You know, how malo maybe si mom la de nduro ne mungi echo, but it wasn't echoing.
You can echo. Yo, you are not.
Oh, okay.
Yo, you're fine. I don't know what it is, but from our end, we're the ones echoing. So maybe just go out and come back.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, and you try it, Bobo, that's it.
So when we hear, it does not echo.
No.
So it's the movement thing.
By movement. Like Pasamba. So they get all of the oil kuseu. Moyo. Oh my goodness. It's just let's give it another shot.
All right.
Yeah.
I guess. You can hear us, right?
Yes, clearly.
Yeah, but I think that's just going to be the nature.
It's still echoing.
Yeah, I know. We'll just have
okay,
to.
I'm gonna try to go out and come back in. Let me start.
Yeah, it's okay.
But try technology. You reboot.
Okay.
It's all right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, clearly.
Like I'm telling them, you can hear me, but it's echoing a little bit.
But I think it's normal. You know, I think it's normal. I don't think it's going to have any impact on that.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. We just have to deal with it. It's just it echoes, but he's hearing us, we're hearing him, and then the people that are watching, they're hearing us. You know, so
I don't think I'm echoing now.
No, you're not.
Okay.
And I'm not either.
Okay, good.
So maybe it was you all along.
It was.
But Kemo, hear us though. Kemo, can you hear us? You see?
Is it echoing again?
No, it's not. But can you hear us?
Because from the comments I can see they're saying when I connect is when it echoes.
Yeah, but can you hear us? Are you hearing
us?
I
can't hear you, Musa.
You see that whatever you're doing, that's the problem is because now I'm not.
Use my earphones.
Oh, get rid of the earphones then.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Loud and clear.
Can you hear us, Kemo? Kemo, can you hear us?
I can't hear you, Musa. But I think I can hear Sarian. Sarian, can you speak?
Yes, can you hear me, Kemo?
I can't hear any of you.
Yes.
Okay, let me just use my AirPods. Maybe it might be better. Let me try that.
Yeah, try that. Whatever is happening is from his end. I don't know what it is. Sometimes.
So you're gonna go on the record and say now it's not you, Sarian, as you alleged earlier.
No, it's not.
Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you hear us? Oh boy.
Where is he? Is Coach on?
Yeah, I think he's just step off.
Yeah, I mean it's when he should stop the recording device. Maybe that's what it is.
The audio.
Hmm?
Your brother man says Kemo's audio. Let him use only the audio.
Yeah, maybe too. That would help.
Well, let's give him a chance to come back. I think his folks wants to see him.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah,
yes, we can.
Is it echoing again?
No, it's not. Can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you clearly.
Wonderful. Whatever you did, it's working. Go ahead, Brother Maron.
All right, Kemo, welcome back, and congratulations on your in your position as the spokesperson for Unite Movement for Change. My first question to you is, Kemo, you've been in the you've been part of United Democratic Party for a very long time. Now you switch sides, and became spokesperson for United Movement for Change. And folks accuse Bakemo is a betrayer. Is Bakemo Bojang a betrayer?
Thank you very much, Sariang, and thank you, Musa, and thank you, Coach. It's a pleasure to be here once more to speak about politics in general, Uganda in general. Like you mentioned, this is not my first time being here, but today I am speaking in a different capacity. And I represent an organization that I believe is the answer to Gambia's problems. And this will take me back to my question, to your question and my answer. When people say betrayal, what are they referring to? Did we betray an individual? Did we betray a political party? Or did we betray the country, the Gambia? If it's betrayal of a person, I would ask the question, when I entered politics, did I enter politics based on being loyal to an individual or being loyal to my country? And if it's a political party, did I enter politics to be loyal to a political party or did I enter politics to be loyal to my country? And if it's the country, I'll ask again. My basis of entering politics was to play a part in the development of my country and to play a part in restoring the sanity that our country needs, in a very urgent capacity. And I believe that if indeed our reason for joining politics was to be loyal to our country, I think I have done what the Gambian people are asking for, and I've listened to what my constituents are saying, and I believe that I made the right decision. So indeed, we are not betrayers. We would be betrayers if we left the UDP and joined President Barrow, for example, because there we would have goodies, we would all live with $1 million in the bank, and a patronage. But today, I am going from media house to media house. I am using my own field. I am using my own vehicle. I am investing. I left an already, built and I've already structured political party for a new initiative. I did that because I believe it was an urgent necessity to change the trajectory of politics in my country. So I am not a betrayer, and I wouldn't let anybody label me a betrayer because I am loyal to my country and I'm loyal to the people of this country. A political party is a segment of this country and it doesn't represent the whole Gambia. And I made a decision and I made a firm one. When I was joining the UDP, I joined because I believe it is the vehicle that could usher in change. Today, I am part of UMC because I believe it is the vehicle that can usher change. So if certain individuals feel they need to be loyal to an individual, that is completely okay. If certain individuals believe they need to be loyal to a political party, that again is fantastic. I choose to be loyal to my country, and I choose to move with the wave and tide of where my country people decide. And I cannot accept that I am a betrayer. And in fact, I do not like to dwell on that question a lot because I think, it is not a priority for me. I think what we need to be focused on is how do we change the trajectory and the truth of the Gambia.
Thank you, Kemo. Thank you very much. So the second question is, you mentioned you joined the movement because you wanted to change the trajectory of our country. And you really felt by listening to your constituents, listening to people, you drive to a conclusion that things needs to be different. But what are some of the pressing issues that you really think should be the cornerstone of 2026 elections and moving forward?
Like we continue to say, we are a people-centered movement, and we are a movement that is here to change the reality of the Gambian people. When you ask me a question, I like to center the people that really matter, and these are the Gambian people. for the longest of times, politics has always been very personal. People have always taken it upon themselves to see how best do we attack each other or how best do we go after each other, because there are no morals or values on which our politics has been based. Granted, there are people who indeed find it as a vehicle that would bring transformative change, and I am one of them. But some of the issues that we're faced with today is when you go to our hospitals, we have seen how women continue to die in our hospitals because of basic problems they face during delivery. We were here when over 60 children or babies died because of a cough syrup. We're here and we have seen how terrible roads have caused a lot of accidents that have led to the lives of people. We're here and how we have seen how children in rural Gambia can't have desk and chair and make the process of learning easy. We continue to see, are you guys getting? Okay. We continue to see how young people of the Gambia continue to take the back way because they believe that it is the only way that they can change the trajectory of their lives. We have continued to see how government has misused funds of the Gambian people, for their own use. And these are things that we want to change. The movement is born out of a necessity to see a different Gambia or a changed Gambia. And we believe that we are the vehicle that can usher in a new country that we all want to see.
Thank you, Coach.
Kemo.
Yes, sir.
It's good to have you again.
Thank you.
About 5 minutes ago, the former dictator of the Gambia, Yahya Jammeh, announced that he'll be coming back to the Gambia in November.
Yeah.
Your movement, I've seen people who I can claim to be Jammeh loyalist or apologist in a way. Anyway, I can name at least two. What is your movement's position on Jammeh's return? Does the UMC believe that given the TRRC recommendation and all that if Jammeh were to come back to the Gambia, that he would be arrested and tried for the many crimes that he has committed against Gambians for 22 years?
Personally, I am a victim of Jammeh's rule myself. I was in exile in Senegal. So I believe that that should tell you my position. As a movement or as a political entity, also UMC is aware of some of the realities that we are faced with as a country, especially when you look at where we have been for the past 22 years to 30 years now. And we do acknowledge that these atrocities happen to Gambian people. And we do realize that people need to be held accountable. And the TRRC did a terrific job. And it is important that those who are found liable to answer the calls, to answer for the actions that they've taken. And this is the position that we also hold.
Is there any possibility that your movement will form an alliance with any group that is associated with Jammeh, especially the what do they call it? Is the NATO Alliance group? Because I know you guys are talking to different people navigating. Will your organization, your movement, in any way, shape, or form, associate with itself with President Yahya Jammeh and his group, giving the history of that man and what he has done to Gambians for 22 years?
Like I mentioned, the movement is a movement of the Gambian people, and we do not see Yahya Jammeh as an entity, and Yahya Jammeh is not an entity. And like you have said, we're talking to different people, but we have not officially spoken to any political entity or any political party that based on the issues of coalitions or based on the issues of forming alliances. I cannot say yes now or not, but what I can tell you that is we are aware and we are in line with the beliefs and wants of the Gambian people, and we cannot go against what the Gambian people want. So the issue of the NATO alliance or the issue of working with people who have been ascribed to Jammeh is something that I believe the central government needs to take full ownership of and make sure that people that have been found wanting answer to the crimes that they have committed. On on a level of the movement, in as much as we are open to working with every Gambian, but we are also aware of the realities that our country is faced with at the moment.
Thank you very much, Kemo. Clearly, the movement is about the future. It's not about the past. My question to you, Kemo, it's Sariang asked a question. Sariang asked the question whether did you betray or the movement betray? And a legitimate question that people are asking. For me, it's not about the betrayal. Let's get to the crux of the matter. Everything about Kemo. Oh, is he gone? I think he's gone.
Yeah, he went off. So you might wanna.
Yeah.
Well, let's wait for him to come back. One thing we know, you can never talk about the future without dealing with the past.
All I'm saying is
you can never
unless
deal
until
you cannot deal.
We focused because I seriously believe you ask whatever questions you want to ask. I am just saying the politics of the movement, it's about the future. All right? It's about the future. The focus is going to be about the future.
My response to that is we cannot deal with the future without dealing with the past.
I don't understand the rationale of a question like that. But again, you're right to ask it. And that is to single-handedly name the No to Alliance as if the movement has anything to do with them.
No. For most, most. Unless you want to take Kemo's position and become the interviewee.
I'm not. I'm asking a
question. Thank you very much.
Kemo.
Just ask.
Yeah, sorry, a call came in, so Gambia.
Yeah, Kemo is very capable of answering questions.
I know there are a lot of people that are calling for the movement. Why don't you make it in 2 hours? I know the lands. But coming back to my question, Kemo, with all seriousness, you are part of the United Democratic Party. Everything about you is UDP. Your DNA is UDP. We all know that. Everybody knows that. So I, honest to God, believe that this decision wasn't a very easy decision. I'm sure you went through a lot of conflicts and inside you, and you finally made it. Can you walk us through what you were going through before making this decision, making this jump? And can you tell us what made it finally to you and some of your partners that, you know what, difficult as it may be, we have to make this change? Can you kind of walk us through and tell us why at this critical juncture you said we need to go a totally different direction? Kemo.
Yeah, so thank you very much. And a lot of times when people say we left the UDP, they say that we left because of the ambition of a single individual. And this is not a fact. This is not a truth. When I was joining the UDP, I was pretty young and I was back in secondary school. I'd say my family played a huge part in my political culture and socialization. And it is because of my family that I became a member of the UDP. And I am very grateful for to the party and the leadership of the party for the opportunities that they have accorded me. And mine has never been a personal issue. I was, or with the leadership, to be honest. But my issue with the party started in 2022 at the Makati Congress. At the time, I was the National Youth Secretary General. But if history, or if you remember, myself and Karafa Sonko were the only two people who lost our positions. I lost mine to Haji Sowane, and Karafa lost his to Modu Sabali. And it is coincidental that we have been accused again of siding with Talib Bensouda, if you can click 1 to 1. So since 2022, even before we got to the 2023 elections, there were plots within the party to remove Talib Bensouda as organizing secretary, and even Alaji Dabo, and some of us, and Ibrahim Adiba and Karafa, who they thought were loyal to Talib Bensouda, even though that is not the fact. And even though they didn't succeed with the rest, but they succeeded with myself and Karafa. with the sense that it was said, we built consensuses. Unfortunately, these consensuses are built in a way where you're persuaded to leave the position for this individual. And sometimes it's a hard one. I believe that from then on, things were never the same again. But from there, we knew, okay, this was sort of a fight against us. And I think in as much as we could have done a lot more to manage the situation, we really didn't do a good job as an institution. And I'd like to say that both sides could have done better. But leading to from that, we kept working within the party, we kept supporting the structures and everything. And I really never took it, up to. Was I hurt? Yes. Was I disappointed? Yes. But I mean, that's life, and it was one of the growth periods of my political journey. So fast forward to 2024, and when all of these things started, I realized that, or generally we realized that, okay, this is a sort of a quantum we found ourselves in, where we have been pitted against each other in the sense that some of us who are close to Talib, for example, have been put in a team. And it's just natural that because you work with someone, you've built a relationship beyond politics or beyond just your, professional relationship. You hang out together, you spend time together and do everything together. But it got to a point that we were not trusted. I mean, if some of you remember, a few weeks before I left the party, there was an audio going around where they said that I was the one going to Marabou's for Talib. That, for example, makes no sense, because I myself had to call this individual who said I called him for Talib's issue. And he openly said that he never said that, even though he was on video saying that. So I realized that there were a lot of trust issues, and there are a lot of underhands that were pushing. So it got to a point I realized that even if I wanted to stay, I have already been boxed, and I was made to choose between our party leader Ala Husseino and Talib Bensouda. Unfortunately, Mr. Dabo has been wonderful to me. He has been a mentor. He has been someone that I owe a lot to because of all he has contributed in my life, in my political journey. But at some point, you have to make a decision, and it's just not about him, but it's about the institution. I realized that I didn't fit with some of these guys because there was no trust anymore, and there was no credibility I had amongst them. And as a politician, your trust and credibility is your currency. And if, for example, you have lost that within a certain situation, the best thing you can do is move on. And I made the decision to leave, not because of an individual, but I left for myself, because I realized that I wouldn't fit in anymore. And this is where we need to, I believe that some of us just needed reassurance, and some of us just needed, a tap on the back to say that, we trust you, we believe that, you are, capable, and so and so. But it never happened. But notwithstanding, all of us are grateful to the party. We have a lot that we cannot say openly that happened in the background, but we hope that it wouldn't get to that where we'll have to go after each other and say some of the things that have happened, through the way. But for me, myself, Talib, and all others, I believe that this is the right decision that we have made, and I believe that it will pay dividend in the future. And when people say, okay, this movement is going to fail or this movement wouldn't succeed, I like to say that, well, we have been in a party that, was also patient for 30 years. So if we don't succeed, that is fine. We can always build on it. And this is not about Talib Bensouda, like I mentioned. This is about the Gambian people. And we believe that we are answering the call of the Gambian people. And we believe that the Gambian people who have shown us the way will definitely lead us to victory.
Kemo, I listened very carefully. And I'm sure quite a few people were also listening. I mean, you basically saying that we were pushed out and the politics of the moment. But I wanna ask these questions. And what I need from you is a yes, no, or no comment. I mean, if you can just play along with me, because I think it's important. We need to get to the reason behind you leaving and some of your partners. Because in 2021, and like I said, your DNA is UDP. You guys launched an effort. All of you were part of the United Democratic Party. And most people, myself included, believed that the UDP had a very good chance of defeating the incumbent. Somehow 2026, you guys want to dance differently. My question to you, and if you can play along with me, either yes, no, or no comment. Do you believe that the core principles of the United Democratic Party, you still believe in them?
The core principles of the UDP are based on truth.
Yes, no, or no comment?
I'd like to say no comment then.
No. Do you believe?
Those are many questions, but go ahead.
No, please.
No, but question is one question. If it is answered, a question is answered.
No question that I want to ask.
Go right ahead.
Please, bro.
No, go right ahead.
Why are you filibustering? Give the brother a chance.
Go, let us know when you're done. Go right ahead.
It's a question. It's a maybe yes, no, or no comment. Please, my brother. Wow. Now, young man, get off my game. Do you believe that the party leader who was there for the past 30 years is an honest man?
I do believe he's an honest man.
Yes, no, or no comment, sir. Do you believe Ba Usainu is an effective leader?
No comment.
No comment. Do you believe UDP with Ba Usainu at the helm can actually win come 2026?
No.
No. So do you agree then when people say that you guys left the United Democratic Party because you don't believe that under the leadership of Ba Usainu, Barrow can be defeated?
So there's a no, yes or no answer, or no. Context is necessary?
Yes, no.
No comment then, because for some of these context is important. So
But you said no.
But then no comment. Yeah, no comment.
Based on the answers that you can give me, can you then elaborate based on the question that I asked before I hand over to my brother Maron?
So the first question was, what's the first question?
The first question, do you mean the yes or no? I mean, based on the answers that you've given me, yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to
find out. What I'm trying to find out is the real reason why you guys actually left, and that it has been pushing you out. It's a variety, and that unless and until we find the real reason, I think. I think it's important.
Yeah. So I think we have also had interviews that have been held. And we have had conversations that have happened. And for example, we've had a senior member of the party who's also a chairman of the Brikama Area Council, where he came out and said even if Talib had won the primary, he would have left the party. And that he had accused us of Talib of being worse than Barrow. And I think for unity within the party, I think that was something that shouldn't have come from someone that holds an influential position within the party. And I believe that he is someone with a voice and he's someone with a mandate. And I believe what the party could have done was to make him come out and also apologize. But if that didn't happen, we also saw, like I mentioned, hostility towards us from 2022 at the Congress in Makati. And more so, we've had also leaders like Dr. Lamin Mane, who I have great respect for, come out a few days ago and said, we were the cancer within the party. We've also had even people who are leaders within the diaspora say Ibrahim Madiba was part of the people who tried to use black magic against Alhaji Usainu. And if people who can think that way, and these are people you've spent all your life with, still don't trust you and think that way, that you could harm someone who has raised you, do you think those people would believe or would trust you even after trying, to get a ticket of the party? So these are questions that people need to ask themselves, and that's one. Two, again, like you said, I believe there are a lot of things that happen within the party that could have been handled differently, and were not. There are things that could have been stopped. They could have been stopped in time, and they were left to grow and maneuver and become bigger and roll into a snowball. And unfortunately, I believe the decisive leadership could have taken shape there. And, unfortunately, it didn't happen. Thirdly, like I mentioned, it is no secret that anywhere you went in the Gambia from 2023 to 2024, everybody said, one, we believe Talib has a better chance of becoming president on the UDP ticket. Two people who were not even members of the party would say, I'm not a member of the party, but if you put Talib as a candidate, I believe he can win based on his track record and what he has been able to do at KMC. Thirdly, a lot of people, even within the party, wanted change. And I do understand if they change their position today because they want, conformity and they want to, their party members and party people, and they want to stay with what the party has said. But some of us want change, and some of us listen to what the Gambian people have said, and we upheld the wishes and aspirations of the people. So for me, it has a lot of factors led to the decision being made. But like I said, trust is very important. If trust is lost, there's no way that it can be fixed. It's like a glass. Once it breaks, even if you glue it together, it can never become, what it used to be.
Thank you very much. Is it Pap Samba or Marong?
Kimo, thank you very much for coming on the show today. My question to you is, obviously, you've been part of the UDP for a very long time. I mean, you grew up. I remember meeting you in Seattle in 2023 at the wedding, and we had a discussion. But also, there are people who are actually ingrained in UDP. They believe in UDP. When you resign, and they came out, the people like Sekou and Natamas, saying that was a hard one. It hurts. What do you think? Why would they say such thing after your departure? But they come on a social media page and gave you a positive review, what they knew about you.
Yeah, so I don't like to, I don't know. We're not good at packaging ourselves, they say Gambians, but I believe it's based on the work that I have done within the party, and I've always tried to be respectful. I've always tried to be measured, and I've always made sure that whoever I came in contact with within the party or outside the party, I was on my best behavior. But notwithstanding, also, I've always been very resourceful within the party. I've been a cameraman, I've been a security, I've been an oddly, I've been a secretary. I've held a lot of positions within the party just to volunteer and support. I've also invested in the party. In 2021, I invested my life savings, with the belief that we were going to win. And sometimes it's just, ambition. Sometimes it's just, youthful exuberance. But even with that, since I became a councillor, every month we contribute $1,500 out of our salary or out of our allowance that we donate to the party, and a lot more. And I believe because of what I've contributed to the party and my upbringing within the party probably made my resignation a bit more difficult for them. But like I mentioned, I'll always be grateful to the UDP for the contributions that they have done in my growth as a young politician. But also, again, I believe in as much as they offered the platform, I also believe that they saw the potential in me, and this is why they also supported. And while a lot of people say, yes, I could have been so and so and so within the party, I also like to think, if indeed I am supposed to be that, I will be, no matter how difficult it is and no matter how, the journey is going to be. But I do believe that I followed my heart and I listened to what the Gambian people are saying, and I made that decision. But like I keep saying, do not let politics, because I've met some really good people within the party who have also contributed in my development. Natamas is one of them. Pata Sedikan is another. And Sehu is a good elder brother of mine. And many more people like Karamba Ture. Up till now, we talk, we converse. He's always advising. Another is Mo Sise, in Vancouver. He's a good elder brother of mine. And many more people. They have been very supportive, even during these times. And I think that's how politics should be. And regardless of our differences, we need, and this is why UMC is here. We're saying that we want to bring a new way of politicking. We want to make sure that people find value in leadership and people find value in political, institutions or political parties. Globally today, a lot of people are shying away from political parties because they don't believe the political parties are serving their purpose. We want to change that. We want to make sure people see value in what we are doing. We want to make sure that people believe that it is indeed possible to have impactful change through political parties and through political institutions. And this is what I've always stood for. I've always believed that politics has to be based on issues. I've always believed that we need to focus on the people that matter, and we need to center them. And I believe that this is what we are offering at the UNC.
All right. Thank you, Kemo. Kemo, I wanted to follow up though. You talk about the new way of doing politics, and I want you to kind of break that down for the viewers. And obviously, you are attached to a new movement. And obviously, what does that look like? In a greater sense, what would be the mantle and the mechanics of the new way of doing politics, per se, as, attached to a movement and a spokesperson? What does that look like?
Can you repeat the question a little bit? I didn't catch it all through.
Okay, you mentioned something about a new way of doing politics, right? So you're talking about the future, not the past. And I'm kind of asking if you could break that down. How does that look? It's intangible, but if you had to talk to people and say a new way of politics, what does that look? What will be the core elements of that new way of doing politics?
Yeah, one of the ways is by institutionalizing our politics, and I think for the longest of time we have personalized politics in the Gambia, and this is why we are faced with so much issues today. And like I keep saying, the movement is not about Talib Ahmed Bensouda. The movement is about the Gambian people, and people have taken ownership of this movement. And we are saying that we need to build politics based on purpose, politics based on reason, and politics based on viable solutions. For the longest of time, Gambians have always been, our identity politics, unfortunately, hasn't worked out for us. Globally, politics is about identity. But for example, you go to America, there's a reason a lot of minorities and a lot of Hispanics and a lot of people vote for the Democratic Party. And there's a reason why a lot of middle class and a lot of redheads vote for the Republican Party. It didn't used to be so in the past, but because purposes have changed, ideologies have changed, and this is why people have changed also. We're saying that in as much as politics is based on identity all over the world, but we need to build an identity that is resonatable with every Gambian. We believe that, in fact, our core value is to unite the Gambia based on purpose, to see the Gambia that understanding that we can find unity in our diversity, and base our politics on these issues. Now today, what we are looking at is to make sure that the Gambian people see us as an alternative, to see us as a vehicle that can drive purposeful change, and to make sure that they find value in politics, like I've mentioned. A lot of Gambians are disenfranchised, and when it comes to politics, there's a huge level of political apathy. Why? Because they've lost faith in the political class. I like to say that majority of young people, or even generally, feel and see politicians as all the same, as politicians as criminals. I don't blame them, because politicians, even though have asked for their mandate, have not been able to solve the issues that they are faced with. We want people to take ownership. We want people to be able to direct, their own future, and to also be able to chart their own path, like we have done. We have been able to chart our own path to come out, even though it's going to be, an uphill task, but we have taken it upon ourselves to be brave, to be ambitious, and to be able to usher in the change that we want as a people.
Thank you, Coach. Go ahead.
Kemo, I'm going to ask you just two questions, like everybody is supposed to. And the first question is, you've mentioned so many times here that you want to have a new form of politics. The movement is not about Talib. We've seen it's been about personalities for other politics. We want to have a new one. But Kemo, everything that you've seen about this movement revolves around one person, and that's Talib Ahmed Bensouda. So tell us, how is this movement any different from any other political organization where everything revolves around one leadership, one person?
So, Coach, yes. So just to clarify, the movement doesn't revolve around an individual. The movement is an institution that we're building, an institution where Gambians see themselves as part of it. Today, in Nuchare and Nuukebe, people have taken it upon themselves This is why people are taking it upon themselves to come up with structures for the movement. This is why, up till now, nobody, apart from myself, who is the mouthpiece of the movement, have a position within the movement. We do not. We believe that it is up to the Gambian people to change this direction. We want them to see an institution and not a personality. And like I keep saying, we don't even have a flag bearer. Nobody knows. And this is what a lot of people took and then they misconstrued what I said at our meeting in Birkama. When I say we don't have a leader, I mean we have a founder, but we don't have a leader. So Talib Ahmed Bensouda is the founder of the movement, but he is not the leader of the movement. I am the spokesperson, and this is the position of the movement. Whoever says something else, that's up to them, and that's their understanding of the dynamics and the realities of the movement. But officially, I can tell you that the movement doesn't have a leader. We have a founder who is Talib Ahmed Bensouda. And this, we believe in the foundation and in the basis of what he has sold to the Gambian people. We believe that even if Talib doesn't become the flag bearer, the movement will continue to persist. And we have seen it happen, in other parts of the sub-region or in other countries. Mm-hmm. Usman Sonko is the leader of the movement, PASTEF. He is, he is the founder of PASTEF. PASTEF was founded by 4 people. And today, Usman Sonko is not the president. Talib doesn't need to be president for the movement to succeed. Anybody can be the president or the candidate of the movement. We can even join a coalition, for example, if everything goes well, and the other party or the other individual can become the candidate of the movement. All we are saying is that we want to see a change Gambia. We are not hungry for power. If we were hungry for power, we would have joined Adama Barrow, and I can tell you, and I'm not boasting, any political entity will be proud to have people like Ibrahim Adiba, will be proud to have Talib Ahmed Bensouda, will be proud to have people like Malik Sow, will be proud to have people like myself to be part of their movement or their political entity. If we put that aside, you would know that this is not about hunger for power. This is not about ambition alone or careless ambition, but this is about ambition to see a change Gambia, and we want the Gambian people to take ownership, and they are beginning to take ownership of it.
You mentioned PASTEF. I like you, but I have to ask questions. You mentioned PASTEF. You mentioned Usman Sonko. There are people who believe that you guys are copycats, that you're obsessed. Most, can you allow him to answer the question? Unless you want to take it right. That you guys are so obsessed with PASTEF as Usman Sonko that you believe that, now this is the new PASTEF. So your focus is trying to copy what Senate or Usman Sonko and Jumai and all those people have done. What do you say to that?
First of all, there's nothing wrong in being inspired by other people who have done well. Mm-hmm. And I think Gambians need to understand that. 2, our realities and our trajectories are different. Usman Sonko didn't leave PDS or APR to form PASTEF. Usman Sonko came to form his political party or based on a project that he has. We believe that we have a project that we need to also deliver to the Gambian people. Now, if our trajectories are the same, so be it. But we cannot be copycats because we believe that our realities are different. But like I mentioned, everything we are doing today, everything Usman Sonko has done, has been done by someone else. So are we also going to say that Usman Sonko also copied from someone else? I believe that political institutions and political parties must be able to learn best practices from each other. And that is what we are doing, and we're building political alliances, not just with political parties in the Gambia, but even around the sub-region to learn best practices from them. And we hope that their inspiration of the good things that they have done in their political parties will be able to influence our decisions, and we will be able to curtail it in our context and give the Gambian people what they want. And for us, it's not about being copycats, but it's about being inspired. And Usman Sonko, even if we copy him, I believe he is a good example that people can copy from.
Thank you very much, Kemo. And of course, it's good to remind people that Martin Luther King Jr. was the leader of the civil rights struggle. Even after his death, there is still civil rights. Mandela was the leader of the ANC fighting apartheid.
Where's the question?
Can I ask my question, please?
You're not asking a question. You're making a statement.
Baby. Let's read the second. So the movement, of course, like you said, has nothing to do with Talib Bensouda. But Kemo, I'm sure you've been following For the People, by the People. And I've always said this, that for change to happen in 2026, the only viable vehicle is the UDP vehicle. I've always said that. I have also said that Talib Bensouda under the UDP party would be the most formidable to run against Barrow in 2026. I have believed it then, I have said it then, and I also still believe it now.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I like to consider myself as a pragmatist. I've always said that the best way to approach 2026, and maybe there is a way that, and I don't think that it should be given up on, was that having the United Democratic Party, Talib Bensouda being the leader, supported, hold his hand by Alaji Ousainou Dabo from hamlet to hamlet, from Banjul to Pasamas, would be the best, most formidable formula to confront Barrow. Now, why is that? You guys were not willing to fight for that from within. Or have you given up on the idea that that can still be a possibility? But the first question is, why were you guys not ready to fight for that? Have you ever sat with Alaji Ousainou or a committee in a strategic meeting and said, look, this is what we believed in? Because for me, I believe you guys left because you don't think under the present status quo, Barrow can be defeated. Now, why were you guys not willing to fight for it from within? Have you ever attempted sitting with the party leader and said, we believe this can be done? Have you ever done that?
I think Talib was very direct and very clear that on the day that he resigned as being the organizing secretary of the party, he had sat with Alaji Ousainou and told him that I believe I can defeat Barrow with your support. And I believe that I will be able to win. And Alaji Ousainou also responded to him to say that he believes that he is the right candidate and the people want him. So if that is the case, I believe we have done that. But also to fight from within, I think applying alone is fighting from within. But we have seen everything that happened after that application went through and all the barrage we got. I mean, 11 people applied, but unfortunately, the hostility Talib's application got, I don't believe any other person's application got that hostility. So that alone tells you what we were faced with. So I believe that we have made the right decision, and I believe the decision to step aside. It's normal. It's everybody's fundamental human right to associate and de-associate, and it's also everybody's fundamental human right to seek, the mandate of the people, and that is what we are doing. But like you mentioned, I have always also held on the same belief that if through the UDP Talib was the candidate, I tell people by 12 noon we would have been done with Adama Barrow. I believe that. But again, people are different, and I believe that the Gambia is bigger than a political institution or a political party, and the Gambian people will make their voices heard. And for me, your first question, can I get that again?
Because the first question was about, how come you guys did not fight for it from within?
Yeah. So I mentioned that we,
you cannot answer that.
Yeah. Yes, we fought. Yeah. We fought for it.
The question was: is it still, even though you guys are out, is there a possibility that that could still happen? Is there a possibility for that?
It depends on what the Gambian people are asking for, but I do believe that a coalition will be the best answer to 2026 story. But again, I believe the movement morphing into a political party will have people that will be able to represent us at those coalition discussions. Like my mentor, Alaji S. Dabo, has always said, he believes that the story that happened in 2016 is the same story that's going to show up again in 2026. I hold the same opinion, and I believe that the UMC is ready to listen to anybody who has opinions about how we could set up coalitions. But again, when we talk about coalition building, one of the factors that needs to be considered in coalition building is what is the uniting factor. So today, the uniting factor is a change of government, which is understandable, and we have a common goal. Number two is how do we engage our stakeholders? So when you talk about stakeholders in coalition building, we talk about not just political parties, the civil society, the pressure groups, individuals with, ability to mobilize. These are all, stakeholders that we need to look, we need to look at. And this is what we are saying at UMC. We need to change the trajectory, because even when you look at the media tour that I am doing, for the longest of time, the media and the political parties or politicians have always been at loggerheads. We saw what happened to Fado Toure a few weeks ago, and unfortunate, or what happened to the Republic, members of the Republic media, So these are things that we want to change. So when you move from the stakeholders, the next is you have to build a strategy. This will come when discussions have already been held and how we go through it. For example, when it comes to candidate selection, what type of coalition we're building, how long it's going to be. But what is fundamental is trust. And looking at the political history of the Gambia since 1962, when coalitions were being built, trust has been a big issue when it comes to political parties and other people, or among political parties. Trust has always been something that has broken coalitions before in the Gambia. When you look at I am Gaba Jawumpa and Sadauda's coalition, you look at you look at Ndam and why Nad and why Nad didn't work. You look at coalition 2016 and some of the factors that led to it breaking. So these are all factors that we need to address, and these are all issues that we need to look at before we discuss coalition. But I do believe that a united front is what we are asking for at UMC, and I'm glad that other political party leaders are also starting to talk about issues like that they want to see a united front. I believe once we sit on a table, we will be able to come up to a consensus, if indeed we put Gambia forward.
Yeah, and I would like, I'm going to wait till my order round to get into this coalition thing. But my second question, contrary to what this other guy is saying, there is one controversy out there, was like people are basically going back and forth. Ba Usainu, actually, there was a promise that he wasn't going to run and the Taliban Suda was going to be the candidate and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of talk. And I said here last week that if there is one thing that I believe, that I don't think Ba Usainu held Taliban Suda's hand and say, hey, you are going to be our candidate in 2026. I'm not an insider. I don't know anything about the UDP. I'm just an outsider. But knowing the man, I don't think that's how he's going to operate. But I've also heard, because Taliban Suda's becoming UDP flag bearer did not just come out of a vacuum. And there were things being said. For instance, I've heard Rahim Malik Law made an utterance that for Ibrahim Adiba to actually work with Talib, she believed, she said it herself, but Usainu fully endorsed it and knew about it. And then the whole thing was Ibrahim Adiba was introduced to Talib Bensouda. Talib really doesn't know the party or the supporters, and he was supposed to be the linchpin to get him ready for 2026. Again, I'm just telling you what I heard. You can tell me you're wrong or way off. There was talk, and this was maybe something that came from Ba Usainu, basically saying, the only thing stopping you for the State House, you have to win re-election as mayor of, and no one told me that. Nah, again, I'm just saying. So in other words, within the party itself.
Sorry, a call came in and I missed you.
That you heard the part where he said the only thing stopping from Talib to the State House would be re-election, winning the mayor, his mayoral race, to be re-elected.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Sorry, a call came in again.
Somebody is asking me. I have to believe it. So in other, what I'm trying to paint is Talib Bensouda working from within to be the flag bearer did not come out of a vacuum. It was after the 2021 devastating loss, there was total disappointment from the party. And from within, he was seen as someone who maybe could be the missing piece for the party to win. Now, was there anything like that based on some of the things that I have said? Have you heard that? Basically, the leader basically saying, Talib, the only thing stopping you to the State House would be winning your re-election and also assigning Ibrahim Adiba to work with Talib and sending Talib everywhere go to this and do this. And even if he's confronted, he said, I endorsed it, I sent him. So people are saying somewhere along the line, some people came and talk him out of it. Am I just way off? Or am I just being a conspiracy? I mean, what can you tell me? You are in the inside.
Yeah, so what I can say is that I want to say that Talib has a lot of respect and has always had respect for the party protocols and for the party leadership. And this is a guy that donated 5 pickup trucks to the party. This is a guy that donated 43 motorcycles to the party. This is a guy that renovated the Manjai Bureau. This is a guy that supports the Manjai Bureau monthly with electricity and everything. And there's a guy that donated over $10 million to the party through his own network for the 2021 elections. And I believe he was investing in his future, in my opinion. And I believe that he has a lot of respect for the party and the party leadership. But these are two honorable men. And I like to say that whatever discussion might have been held amongst them wouldn't come out, in my opinion, except if any of them told another individual. And personally, I want to keep it that way. I want us to keep the respect and honor we have for Alhaji Ousainou. I don't like to dwell on who did what, when, where, and why. I like to be forward-thinking. I like to be someone who likes to see what happens tomorrow and what happens next. Because we have to salvage this country. And this country, is really at a crossroad. And I believe that now that we have left the party, if any promise was made or not, I think it's just water under the bridge. And I think that we need to forge ahead as a good party. But I can tell you that whilst we were in the party, Alhaji Ousainou and Talib had a very fruitful and beautiful working relationship. It was a father and son relationship. Talib's father and Alhaji Ousainou were in the same school. Talib's mother and Alhaji Ousainou were colleagues for the longest of time and have so much respect for each other. So I believe that anything that might have happened should be kept as in a respectable way, and we need to forge ahead and move forward.
Thank you very much. Brother Maron.
Kemo, thank you very much. Listening to you, obviously you agree that, coming together would be essential to salvage Gambia from the current predicament. And I wanted to know, what would it take from your movement side of things and all the political party view per se, because I think I heard you on West Coast Radio saying that sometime in December of this year, the movement will turn into a full-fledged political party. Now, my question to you is, what would be the position as far as working with other political parties to form an alliance, basically, to get us out of the current predicament?
So for us, it's about putting Gambia first. And I think that's what a lot of people do not understand. Majority of the time, when people talk about coalitions, we always look at numbers. And we forget that what is most important is putting the Gambia first and making sure that the Gambian people are listened to. While as we politicians always want to center ourselves, we kind of lose the reality and we kind of lose the factors that are very important. Now, for example, I've heard a lot of people say that the UDP is, with a coalition without the UDP is a non-starter. I disagree. I believe that looking at the numbers that are available now, people can argue on these numbers, are they factual or not? But in the last election, we were a country of almost 2.7 million people, and we had a voter population of about 900,000 plus. And out of that 900,000 plus, UDP had 238,000. So we're looking at, now that the country's population has grown to 3 million people or more, there's a high tendency that the voting number might also increase to around 1.3 million or so. So nobody is saying that UDP doesn't have the numbers or is not the biggest opposition party. But what we're saying is that the numbers are not enough to push them across the line. And if trying to belittle their numbers will be delegitimizing their majority. And I don't think anybody will want to do that. But we're saying that we need to also be able to compromise when it comes to the table. We need to be able to humble ourselves and understand that everybody plays a part in building a coalition. Now, I've heard people who don't hold any position within the party, who have no striking within the party, just because they've been lingering around the leadership, have gone to platforms and said that they will not, form any coalitions with a party with 3% or 5%. That party with 3% or 5% is a party that has been built on credibility. Regardless of whatever you think about the PDIs, they are one of the most credible political parties this country can ever, boast of. So we need to respect each other. We need to build coalitions based on trust, like I mentioned. Now, it's about putting the Gambia first and putting our personal ambition second. Now, if the Gambian people say, indeed, they want a UDP-led, coalition, so be it. We can all sit together at the table. But like I said, until that time, arrives, we cannot say much about coalition building. But I do know, even if it's that the UDP will not join a coalition because maybe they feel they're bigger than everybody else, we can have a third force, and that third force can definitely make an impact and even win the elections.
Thank you, Kemo. Kemo, I listen to you, and people will say, all the politicians will say, putting Gambia first. And I heard you repeat that many times. What would the movement be, or at least their rules of engagement that would be different than what the typical politicians say? Because everyone says Gambia first. What does that look like? What is the core messages and core principles that gonna stand on? I want to hear that, because at least that is very, very important. Because if you're gonna be different, I want you to distinctly articulate how the United Movement for Change is going to be different from the political parties that we have in our current environment.
Yeah, so like I've mentioned in my previous conversations or on my previous programs, I've always said that I wouldn't say anything that Gambians haven't heard before. Everything I say has been said by a politician before. But what will distinguish us is that we need to back our sayings with action. And what we have always said is that our core values as a movement is to unite the country based on purpose. We must be able to see ourselves as one country with one country and one people, and also move forward as one nation. So we are at a crossroad as a country where our politics has been polarized. And unfortunately, even if you don't want to be drowned in that, you get drowned in it, because that's the situation that we have found ourselves in. We're saying that we need to come up with a new way of politicking, and this is by centering the people. Once you're able to center the people, you are able to have a new way of politicking, because then you consider and you know what is important. Unfortunately, that has not been the case for most of the for most of the political parties here. They have been based on making sure that one individual becomes president, and it's not even about one political party. It's about all political parties that we have found in the country. And I think this needs to change, for example, because we are at a crossroad as a country, like I mentioned. And it is up to us as young people, generally Gambian people, to chart a new path. And we are doing that by making sure that we bring up solutions that are workable, bring up solutions that are tangible, and that will be able to move the country forward. We also believe in showing results. We believe that our track record in local governance should be able to push this our movement forward and show people based on what we are able to do. We haven't made promises that we haven't fulfilled. What we have said that we would do, we have done in KNC. We have transformed KNC into a service delivery unit. We have made it a people-centered institution where people feel that now they're getting service and now they're getting worth for their taxes. And this is what we want to bring to the national level also.
Thank you. Coach, go ahead.
Kemo, my two questions. First, how soon should we expect your movement to be transformed into a political party?
By the end of the year, inshallah.
By the end of the year. Do you have a name for the party yet?
We do have a name, but we will wait until it's officially, announced.
Now, Kemo, anybody who's known you, I've known Mr. Dawo for a very long time now. And there's a reason when you wrote your statement of resignation, that a lot of people, even diehard UDP, said, you know what, this one will really hurt. Ibrahim Adiba too, leaving the UDP, knowing that he's been around Mr. Dabo since he was a very little boy itself. Have you had any conversations with Mr. Dabo prior to your resignation or after your resignation? And what is your relationship with Mr. Dabo as we speak?
I was in Accra when Mr. Dabo left for Nigeria. So I went to the house and I found that he had left, and we couldn't speak. But I had sent him a text message because usually we discuss on text most of the time he calls, but unfortunately he couldn't respond. I believe based on his schedule at the time, so we didn't really have a conversation. And he's been on a very busy tour, and we haven't really spoken. But I do believe that we're all in the country, and we will definitely get the chance to see inside, inshallah. And Mr. Dabo will continue to be a father figure to me, and regardless of my political lining. I respect him, I love him, and that will never change. And for me, like I said, even if it's not just about what we have gone through, he's a similar age to my father, and he's an acquaintance to my father. And it's normal that even in the same family, people in different political parties, that doesn't impact their relationship. So sometimes a husband supports one party and wife supports another. So for me, that will not change my love and respect for him. And it's the same for all of us. Like I mentioned, Talib's parents' relationships with him, and Ibrahima, for example, was raised by him also. So that will never change our relationship with him. We love him, we respect him, and in fact, this is why we wanted to continue his legacy and to bring in the change that he has always wanted for the Gambian people.
Thank you. 2 questions. To the point.
Yeah.
Going back to 2021, and even before that, the position of the United Democratic Party, and yourself included, especially when we talk about coalition building. Because most Gambians will tell you, in the absence of a coalition, first my question is, do you believe that the movement going it alone, do they have a chance of winning? But most importantly, the other part of the question that I really want you to delve into is, you've always held the belief that in any kind of a coalition, most people believe the largest party should really be able
party-led coalition.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's what they will parrot around everywhere you go in the world. Party-led coalition, all the other parties will come and support. Do you really still believe that in this situation?
So my position on coalitions is that your first question was on what type of coalition, and the second one was
the first question: do you believe the movement can go it alone?
Yes.
And
Yes.
Win in 2026?
I do believe so. I believe the numbers we're seeing are very convincing, and I do believe that the data and the statistics that have been available to us since the beginning of the since we started the movement have been very convincing. We're the fastest growing movement this country has ever seen, and we continue to attract the people. And I believe that, especially for first-time voters, we're offering an alternative, and generally for the young people of this country. The biggest misconception majority of Gambians do not belong to any political party. Understand? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, now we can.
Yes. Yeah. So the biggest misconception, like I said, is people believing that the majority of Gambians are aligned. No, they're not. The majority of Gambians do not belong to political parties. And this is a fact. They have preferred candidates. They come on election day, they vote. Or they make up their mind, whoever they want to vote for, they vote. So if you believe that, the majority of Gambians already have a position, then you are living in a delusion. And we have seen this in our conversations we have had with people. We believe the data and the statistics and the surveys we have run gives us an idea of what we're working with. And I believe that even the movement alone can definitely usher in a new government and a new dispensation. But notwithstanding also, we're open to working and collaborating because we have said that we want to unite the Gambian people. And this is why we are set out, what we have been set out to do. We're looking at also broadening our horizon and working with different, political stakeholders in seeing how best can we build a coalition going forward. Now you've asked the question, do I still believe in a party-led coalition? I believe the only thing also constant in life is change. based on the realities and the dynamics that you found yourself in. We have tried, you know, last year you asked me, I would say yes, a party-led coalition should be the answer. But after, like I said, listening to the Gambian people and knowing what they want, I believe that a coalition based on who is the most electable individual, regardless of your political party, should be the way forward. We have done it in 2016, and it worked. We went to a convention, people came forward, people voted for whoever they believe should be the individual who can lead us, and we had a coalition. Prior to that, we have tried party-led coalitions over and over and over again, and it never worked. So I do believe that instead we should listen to the people, we should come back to their level, and we should see what best works for the Gambian people based on our reality.
So, Kemo, you see, this word electability, it can be very subjective. When you talk to Esam Baifal, he believes he's the most electable. When you talk to, the United Democratic Party, they believe that the largest party under Usainu is the most electable. So it can be very subjective. So if we are all going to come together, again, because the majority of people, political observers, they believe that they really, this juggernaut, this huge NPP, defeat them is going to take all of us coming together. Pragmatism in me kind of also believe that. How do we, without resorting to who is electable and who is not, how can we go about, if we are to have, because obviously you're telling me that you no longer buy led, how can we realistically, all the parties, all hands on deck, come together and find a formula? Because in terms of the programs, I think that would not be very difficult. Saying we want to do this, we want to do this, we want to do this. I think that is something that we can all agree to. The challenge would be, who is going to lead this coalition? How do you think we should approach this without resorting to this? Go ahead.
I believe we should throw it back to the Gambian people, and the Gambian people must offer that solution to us. So, Musa, I think what has been our biggest issue is that people-centered solutions have been really, or masses-centered solutions, have for the longest of time have been decided by politicians. And we have had issues of that, where we take, for example, I spoke about it in an interview I made a few days ago. Even when you look at the National Assembly, how many consultations have each National Assembly member held with his constituency when it comes to decision making or when it comes to amendments of the Constitution? So there's there's a big gap between the governors and the governed in the Gambian context, and unfortunately, we have not been able to close that gap. What we are offering is that, why can't we go back to the Gambian people and let the Gambian people tell us who do they believe should be the candidate when it comes to a coalition? And this can be in an open forum, or this can be in how this will be done will be based on what we agree to. Is it going to be based on a convention? Is it going to be based on regional primaries where you have delegates from the regions? But it depends on what the people are saying and how do we go about it. But I do believe that this is why we need to have national conversations, and this is what the UMC is offering. And in fact, when it comes to building our constitution, our manifesto, it is going to be a people's document. It's going to be a people's paper. It's going to be a people's project. We will throw it back to the Gambian people so that they can tell us what they want in their constitution. If in doing so, governance is not from the top to the bottom. It is from the bottom to the top. We also want, even if we're going into a coalition, like I said, arrogance cannot be a factor. There needs to be compromise. There needs to be trust. And that can only be built if we give it back to the people for the people to make a decision. And I believe that that is the only way that we can have a coalition that serves the people, because then the people will be making a decision on who they believe should lead that coalition.
Brother Maron.
Yeah, Kemo, thank you very much. Kemo, my follow-up question is in regards to, a party-led, coalition. Musa asked, maybe in 2021, your position was, yes, the party-led should lead the coalition. But it seems like the position has shifted based on what you just explained a few minutes ago. Now, people might say, okay, a typical politician, a position that they take when it's convenient, they say yes. When it's inconvenient, they shift positions. What would be your answer to such proposition, saying that, okay, 2021, he agrees with it. What is different? What is different that makes you think that now going into 2026, it's a total different ball game, it's a total different political environment?
I believe most of the people, especially the millennials and Gen Zs, do not ascribe to political parties. And this is a fact. There's data to prove this, not just in Gambia, but globally. Gen Zs and millennials vote based on who they feel is the best candidate. They vote based on what you're offering. And even when you look at the Gambian dynamics and contexts, even though the votes in rural Gambia are rigid and are not very dynamic. You look at the voting pattern within urban Gambia, where you have more middle class, where you have more educated people, you realize that the voting patterns are very dynamic. So this is a general perception that is, has been proven to be right, that people do not ascribe to political parties. So even if we say, yes, indeed, we want a party-led coalition, we have tried it in the past and it didn't work. Like I mentioned, NAT is an example. And even before NAT, there have been other, tries where we have tried to have a coalition, for example, UDP, GMC, UDP, and other parties, but it never really glided and we never really had everybody on board. But the only time we had everybody on board was when we had a convention where the candidate resigned from a party. It was not party-led, and we had everybody to ascribe. So now we're saying that, what are the Gambian people saying? And we listen to what the Gambian people said, and they are saying that they want a coalition based on the most electable candidate. Now, like Musa said, if you say electable, this is a subjective issue based on every candidate and every party's position. They believe that their candidate is the most electable. Now I'm saying, let us take it back to the Gambian people. If the Gambian people say, so an SFL is the most electable candidate, we will definitely go with that. If the Gambian people say Husawa is the most electable candidate, we will go with that. If the Gambian people say Kemo Bojang is the most electable candidate, we will go with that. But we're saying, throw it back to the people and listen to what they have to say. Because I mean, if you've been trying since 96 and it didn't work out, now you cannot continue imposing it on the people. You must be able to listen to the people and listen to what they have to say. So if they're saying that, okay, we want a different variety, that is completely fine. And for me, this is why I think it is important that we look at it from that perspective and center the people that matter. Political parties are important, but they are not the alpha and omega of the political dynamics of a country. The people who make up this political party are not just people who are card-carrying members. Political parties are not also just here for their card-carrying members. They're here for the general populace, and they must be able to listen to the general populace and what the people have to say.
Thank you, Kemo. But Kemo, I hear you. Take your message to the people. But you know your old home, which is UDP. You know what? There was polls that came out, all these, but still, as we said it in the Navy, they steady as she goes, man. They said, no, we're not gonna change. Dabo is our leader, and we're gonna select him. He is our flag bearer. Now, taking that message to the people, I get it, but how do you see? And you know, it's not easy. And you know, because you are more attached to the political party than Sari Maron sitting in Vancouver, Washington.
Yeah.
They will push back. They will push back very hard and say, no, we're not going to do this. But what is the chemistry and what is the formula and modalities that you bring in to bring both sides together to usher some type of mechanism that would underscore the message that you owe, at least the proposition that you are trying to sell to the general public?
So members of the UDP have every right to say that Usaino Dabo is their candidate. And I want that to be clear, because he went through a primary and he got elected to be candidate of the party. But what we are saying is that the UDP numbers alone are not enough to push the opposition into State House. And this has been tried and tested. And like I mentioned, and I'll mention again, trying to say UDP is not the majority party will be delegitimizing their majority. And that is not why I am here. I am here to offer an alternative of how the opposition or how we as UMC can usher in a new Gambia. And I believe the way we can do that is not by closing our ranks. It's by opening our ranks, like you mentioned, in the military. But this is not military. This is in society. Society is dynamic. Society is not static. Society evolves. And times have changed and times have evolved. And my generation is saying this is what they want. Listen to the people. And this, when I say take it to the people, it's about listening to the people and hearing what the people are saying. And I believe that we have made the right choice and right call in making sure that we listen to the people and hear what they're saying. And they're saying that they want to evolve. They're saying that they want our politics to change. And they want to see new faces within the political landscape. And this is what the UMC is offering. And this is what we're offering the Gambian people, to see that we have leadership change that is backed with value, that is backed with capacity, and that is backed by track record.
No. The reference that I meant about the Navy was just an analogy. If you say steady as she goes, meaning the core members of UDP did not want to swap Lawyer Dabo for anybody. And you know that,
Yes.
I know that. So that's what I said,
that's what I'm
steady as
saying.
she goes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's also what I'm saying. It is their right to be steady as it goes, because they believe he is the candidate. But majority of the Gambia sees otherwise. And we are saying that because majority of Gambia sees otherwise, we are aligning with majority of the Gambia. Now, this is subjective, right? And nobody knows what will happen in 2026. These are all subjective positions we're holding. But we do believe that we have the answer to what the Gambian people are asking for, and we want to take it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kemo, two questions again, as we do here. Or are they supposed to do? Since your movement was announced, since Talib came and announced the formation of this movement, Unite Movement for Change. That's it, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, Yombana, why are you trying to be funny?
I'm not. Why are you filibustering? Kemo is very able to answer questions on his own. He doesn't need your help.
Oh, I know that. I know that.
But from an observer, I've observed, I've watched, I've not participated in the discussions. I have seen that everything that is affecting the Gambia, the massive corruptions that have been unearthed by various other reports, the suffering of the Gambian people have all taken backstage to the rancor between the UDP supporters and the movement. To the extent now where those who are aligned with the government, we've seen Sabali, who was part of you guys, who left the UDP, went to went to NPP, now all of a sudden has now become a darling of the UDP again, at least some UDP members online. to the extent now that where the things that really affect the Gambian people have now taken backstage to to this political rancor. What is your movement doing to refocus this discussion to where it needs to be? That is the suffering of the Gambian people and the need for change.
And that is exactly what I am doing here. I am the only recognized voice and mouthpiece of the movement. And every discussion we have had here has been based on how do we elevate the position of the Gambian people. Now, what supporters out there doing is a difference, because I mean, we have just come out of a divorce. It is natural for people to feel this way, that for people to feel that they need to get an edge over the other party. But what we have continued to say is that we have continued to sow a message, and we have continued to sow a message to our supporters. And like you mentioned, we have to center the Gambian people, and I have continued to say that, because what we have done, unfortunately, or what we are doing as a people, is that we're making the road easier for the NPP and Barrow, and we cannot continue to do that. And this is why, as the spokesperson of the movement, I can keep on continuing to talk about issues. And this is why I said, it is disappointing that people from other political parties who have positions, who are leaders within that party, do not talk about issues, but continue to find ways of throwing dirt on us. For example, like I mentioned, my good and one of my great friends, Uncle Lamin Mane, his interview came out today, And it's unfortunate because this is someone that had worked at the ADB, the African Development Bank, which is a very high, institution in the sub-region. He worked there as a translator until he retired. And I would believe that someone who has worked in such a institution and has been able to interact and work with people of high caliber would bring the conversation like he's been doing before now, focus on the issues of corruption, focus on the issues of the economy, and focus on issues of what the government is not doing well. So so all of us as oppositions could follow the same lead. And for example, I like to say that we will continue selling a message. We will continue selling, our institution and our movement, and we will continue to offer ourselves as the alternative by focusing on what really matters, which is the Gambian people, and to see how best do we make sure that the Gambian people have their questions answered. Like you have mentioned, the audit report, we have seen how the Auditor General has said that the president himself called him and told him that I do not want you to publish these audit reports because of my re-election. If Gambia was a serious country, the president should have been impeached on that day. For example, we have seen the issue of ghost workers, for example, where $23.9 million is being lost annually because of ghost workers who have not been able to, we have not been able to, pinpoint where they are. For example, you look at what Gala has been doing. They've been doing a fantastic job. But currently, the parliament is currently on an inquiry. Gambians have lost interest. This is why we need to redirect, the focus of the Gambian people and make sure that, we're able to push issues. We're able to make sure that the bread and butter issues that really matter to the Gambian people are things we need to discuss. And for example, when you see the central government celebrating loans and grants, publishing it, when I see that, I say, oh my God, because you're not doing well economically. This is why the international community is helping you out. It is not something you should be proud of. It's not something that you should tell the world, oh yeah, we just got another grant. Congratulations to the Gambian government. It's a disaster because countries that are doing well do not need grants. So these and many other reasons are things that we need to look at. And I hope going forward, we will be able to push the conversation where we center the people, where we make sure that those who matter are the people we're talking about, and we make sure that the political parties.
Now, the next question, my second question. Adama Barrow, President Adama Barrow, to satisfy Boy Fati, who was part of the UDP, formed Barrow Youth Movement, which he said he didn't want his name attached to. We saw one day he came clad in the t-shirt with Barrow Youth Movement. According to the UDP, he was accused of undermining the leadership of the UDP by paying Yai computes and all that, prompting Mr. Dabo to say, I think this was in 2018, that there are two things that are indisputable. That President Adama Barrow is the President of the Republic of the Gambia, but he, Ousainou Dabo, is the Secretary General and leader of the UDP. He left the UDP eventually and formed his NPP. But we've heard him give lectures on betrayal and said that those young people should give reverence to the older guys. They should not be too eager or too ambitious to want to push them aside. And pretty much in his own ways, because whenever Barrow is on holidays and have microphone in front of him, you better listen. You will have a lot of clips. Pretty much accuse you guys of betraying Mr. Dabo and the elders of the party. What is your response to that?
I think it's unfortunate that the head of state will reduce his office to conversations like that. Because one, it's a fundamental human right for everybody to associate and disassociate, and also to ask for the mandate of the people. Two, President Barrow himself made reference to people that didn't suffer during the hard times of Jammeh. But he has forgotten that there are others who suffered for him to become president. There are people who got killed. There are people who went to prison. There are people who went on exile. There are people who kept on fighting even when they were in exile. He's forgotten that the funding came from the diaspora through the GDF, and these are the reasons why he was elected as president. So if he sits today and thinks that he can offer advice on some of these things, it makes me laugh. One, because I don't think he was referencing us because we are not betrayers. But as a general statement, I like to say that I think the head of state should be focused on better things. Gambians are dying every single day because we don't have medicines in the hospitals. Gambians are dying because of the substandard roads that have been built in this country. Our schools are dilapidating on the highest increase. You continue to see how the economy depreciation continues to take center stage. Businesses are closing down. Feeding is difficult. Rice has taken a 120% jump. A bag of rice has taken a 120% jump because of inflation. These and many other reasons, issues are the things I believe the president should be focused on, but not trying to cause discord amongst the opposition, which I do understand he'll do because that is in his favor. But he is the guy that said he would never leave the presidency until Hussein Odabo is buried in front of him. This is the same guy who sacked Hussein Odabo, Amadou Sane, and Lamin Diba out of his political party. So if he's been able to do that, who is he to advise anybody on respecting elders? Who is he to tell anybody on how to run their political issues? I think President Barrow has better things to focus on. And I am still wondering who he was referring to, because he is not referring to us because we are not betrayers. But I think he needs the advice more than any other person.
Thank you. Those were my two questions.
If there is one word that has been seriously bastardized, it's betrayal. And the only betrayal that happened here was when people walked out of that memorandum of understanding where they signed on a dotted line and did not stay within their signature. Yun salum len, gorcha batam. And that's the only betrayal that ever happened. Brother Kemo, my question is this. You've referenced that in a coalition, when everything is said and done, we have to take it to the Gambian people. Yeah. It sounds nice, but the devil is in the detail. How do you do that? Now, in 2016, we all know the way they went about it was they said delegates. Each party will bring 70 delegates, and then they will vote for whoever is going to be the leader. In 2006, 2006, contrary to what Boubacar Siddiqui went on a platform and totally misinformed people, the selection was supposed to be done by consensus. They said consensus. That's an English word, consensus, meaning the leaders will sit down and they will go through the motions and they will agree who is going to lead.
Consensus building, yeah.
Consensus building, exactly. And it didn't work out. But at least they did not give it time to work out. But I'm not going to get into that. It will get me in trouble. So when you say you have to take it to the Gambian people, I'm going to throw a proposal at you. How feasible would it be for all the parties to sit down and say, okay, we're going to put together some funds and they will use this entity called Cyprus, and they will take their message to the Gambian people and say, who do you think should be the flag bearer for the opposition to run against Barrow? And all of them will subscribe to it. All the parties, they will fund it, and then Cyprus will do its work. And whoever come out to be, first question is, would you think that is one way of doing it? Would that be?
I do, absolutely.
Gambian
absolutely.
People? And
absolutely.
Consider,
go on.
Would the movement be ready to consider such a proposal and subscribe to it?
Absolutely. I do believe that Cyprus has done a good job since 2016. All the data Cyprus has given us, we have come out to find out that it has been authentic and true. The margins of error are very, very, very minimal. And I do believe that they are people of credible character and people that have run good surveys in the country. And I have no reason to doubt their position or what they put forward. I also believe that whenever we get to the issues of coalition, we will definitely sit at the table as opposition parties and come up with a solution. But I do believe that the Gambian opposition are willing. It is just finding modalities on how to go about it, but the Gambian opposition are willing and are ready to form a coalition and to see what comes out of it. But I do believe that this is doable and this is something that can be doable. But what you have mentioned is one of the ways that we can also, go about it. And like I said, when people have platforms, they need to invite people with credibility and people that understand the dynamics of our politics. And it's unfortunate that in Gambia now, people just invite anybody because you want content to come and speak about things that they didn't witness or they have no idea about. But I just hope also that going forward, that journalists will also be, prudent enough to make sure that the people that they invite to their platforms are people that, can really, offer guidance and offer solutions to some of the questions that, they are asking. But again, I do understand everybody has their biases, but at least biases need to be truthful. And when, you are offering something in a conversation.
I mean, Kemo, back in 2021, I got in trouble by pushing an idea that I call the third rail. I come on this platform every Sunday, and I'll be at it, and said that we need to take the fight against the UDP and the NPP. Because for me, I thought they were the ones, I mean, after 2016, they were the one that hijacked this effort. But it didn't, of course, it didn't go anywhere. And it looks like people are saying that a coalition of parties outside of the UDP and the NPP could be a force to be reckoned with. What do you say?
And that is what we are offering. And that is exactly what we are offering. We are all offering an alternative. We're offering a new path that the Gambian people can find answers to. And we have seen it in countries. It has happened before, where you have two major parties and then a third force comes and takes over. And I believe a similar thing will happen in the Gambian context. And people need to understand that the dynamics are changing. The generation is changing and people are seeing politics differently. And a lot of people are ascribing to what we're offering because we're offering better politics. And this is a fact. We're offering better politics and people need to understand it. We're not based on the politics of crowd. We're not based on the politics of volatility. We're not based on the politics of personality. We're offering a solution and a project to the Gambian people. And I do believe that a third force is always very important in any political dynamic. It gives people an option. For example, you look at globally, especially in the UK and America, people abstain from not voting because they think it's voting for the lesser of two evils. We want to change that. We want to give people an we want to give people, a solution to that issue and give people an alternative.
Yes, and when we say an alternative, a viable alternative at that.
A viable alternative, yes, a working alternative.
Exactly.
Because the country is at a crossroad where it needs to define its destiny, and for the longest of time, politics for me has a lot of people have seen it, as not a viable solution to our problems. And a lot of young people are saying, I've never voted, but this time I'm going to vote because I see a solution and I see a viable alternative, and I'll give that alternative my vote.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying the movement is seen as a viable alternative, no doubt. Brother Maron.
All right.
An observer.
All right. Thank you, Kemo. Kemo, I wanted to go back because on this platform, we want to make things clear. But you make reference to Mr. Mane, Lamin Mane, and but you didn't say what he said. You said you were somehow disappointed. So I want you to kind of explain, what did he say? I didn't listen to it. I don't have no idea.
Yeah.
You brought it up. So if you could share with the viewers that he said that kind of thing, you think that, he should raise above the fray and, and should be talking about issues. If you could enlighten us, please.
Yes, so Mr. Mane went on a platform, and no disrespect, and I apologize if he feels any way disrespected, because I don't even think I'm at the same statute to even mention his name. But he went on a platform and said, we have been in the party while we were undermining that party, and that is not the fact. Some of us invested our life savings in the UDP in 2021. We cried and, we did all we could to see that change happened in 2021. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. And so be it. And that is what God has destined. And we took it in good faith. But for people to come out now and say that even during the time we were undermining the party is just unfortunate. And he called us a cancer. And I believe that someone of his caliber and someone of his, of his stature should be one of the voices, healthy politics are their names. And for to hear him say something like that, I believe, is not something I'll expect. So this is why I'm a bit disappointed. If it was someone else, like some of the names that Musa has mentioned, I wouldn't be worried because I know that is their brand of politics and everybody despises them based on that. But he is someone that I respect. He's someone that I hold, in high caliber. And I still listen to some of his programs because it's what he's offering. So if I hear him say, something like that, would really disappoint.
Thank you. I didn't listen to it, so that's why I wanted to make sure it's clear that people know what you're referring to. But my other question to you is, there was another person that you referenced to, and I want to make sure we set the record straight here, by the name of Momodu Sabali, which by all means, I'm very troubled
I
that
I didn't reference him. Coach did. I don't mention people
Okay,
that are not relevant
and
in
I'm
my political
troubled that
discussion.
some folks somehow have affinity with him and referencing him, sharing his videos and utterances, which is damn troubling to all of us. And now he made an allegation. He said in 2023, you came to the United States and you spent a lot of time here. In fact, Mayor Bensouda did not want to appoint you as a counselor. They had to beg Usaino had to talk to him to put you in that position. Is that statement true? And if you could enlighten the viewers, please.
Yeah, so there are characters that I don't even want to mention by name because I don't think they're worth it. And unfortunately, these are the people that we glorify. And unfortunately, in the Gambian context, my enemy, for example, if you are my enemy, your enemy becomes my friend. And these are the things that we want to change in the political landscape. I was in America. I've been in America twice. So the first time I was there for my Mandela Washington Fellowship at the University of California, Davis. And the second time was in 2023 after the councillorship election. So what this individual doesn't know, because I don't want to even honor him by mentioning his name, is that I had discussed with Mayor Bensouda that I'll be away for 10 months because I was out of 610 applicants from young policymakers in Africa. I was one of the 8 selected to be a McCain Fellow through the International Republican Institute. So I was supposed to go for a 10-month program in DC where I was working with the Senate and I was working with also the House of Reps. So for him to sit today and make up stories and say that I plan on absconding or sitting in America because I wasn't nominated is something he has no idea about. But I don't blame him. I expect things like that from that individual because that's the type of person he is. He is not someone who is credible. He's not an individual who has any, what's the best word to use? I want to keep it as professional as possible, but he is that type of individual. And when I heard it, I sent it to Mayor Bensouda and then we laughed about it because we know the discussion we had before I left for America. So, and I was there for a while. And for him to ascribe that to me trying to stay there, because I mean, what do we get paid at KMC that I'll have to, come back to Gambia if I really wanted to stay in America and hustle? And secondly, my wife lives in America. All my siblings live in America. If I wanted to stay in America, I would stay in America. My mom, in fact, came back just 3 days ago from America. She has been there for over 7 months. So it makes no sense for me to try and stay in America because of my story. And the reason I chose to study in Gambia, because I believe and I am convinced that I will be one of the names that will change the trajectory of this country. And you can ask my family members. I personally chose to stay here and study here and work here because I believe that I have so much to offer to the Gambian people. Any day that I feel that I've done enough or I can't do anymore, I would go stay with my family or do something else. My life doesn't depend on politics. I don't live off politics. I have a thriving business. my family supports me, and I have a very well, very loving family and support base. So for him to sit wherever he sat and make that audio, it just shows us that he doesn't have any work to do. So he's more focused on personalities rather than advising the president. But again, he's that character. I don't expect a lot from him.
Thank you, Bakemo. And just to let people know, man, I'm not making any relevance. I am the last person on this surface of the earth who's going to give that man a limelight. But I think we're getting into silly political season.
I agree.
And we have
I'm
to
very
address
grateful
these
for it.
things. Yes,
Yeah.
we got to address
I'm
these
grateful
things
for
to
it.
set the record straight. That's what we need to do.
I'm very
Thank
grateful
you.
for it.
Kemo,
yes.
As I have listened to you, I chose to stay in this country because I believe I'll be one of those who will be changing the trajectory of this nation. We've seen over the years, some of us who've been following politics for a very long time. Musa Jeng was the one holding Jawara's briefcase when they were going for the negotiations for independence. So that tells you, he voted in the first elections that we had in this country.
But 1962 referendum.
Thank you. Well before the referendum. But Kemo, one thing that I've seen in Gambian politics is that our women have been reduced to into cheerleaders, dancers, and clappers and yai companies and all that. Our young people have been reduced to nothing but following politicians and doing that. In fact, to the extent that our young people will be given statements to read before national televisions to denounce tribes that they even belong to, and use all this unsavory language and all that stuff. As a politician, you've been a politician for a while now.
Yeah.
What do you think needs to happen to direct our young people to understand their worth? That they must not just be sycophants of leaders, but they have a role to play in salvaging our nation, and they can play it without being anybody's errand boy.
Yeah, so I think so politicians in Africa, not just Gambia, have intentionally suffered the people. They have intentionally made the people poor, and they've intentionally uneducated the people, because it is the only way they can be able to control the masses. And until we're able to build a population that is educated, a population that is independent, we will be, faced with issues like this. And I think this is why I keep telling young people that have a lifeline or have a source of income beyond politics. Because if you do, then you don't depend on politics or politicians to survive. And a lot of reasons why people keep fighting, why people keep insulting, is because of they want favors from politicians and people in power. And in as much as for women, I do understand, and for youth also, it's the same. Until we're able to change the system, nothing is going to work. When you look at the literacy level of women in the Gambia, today it has taken a positive trajectory, but it has never been that way for a very long time. We must be able to educate our women. We must be able to empower them. For example, you look at businesses, for example, market. How do we elevate and how do we extend the position of market women and see how best do we support them to to go into expanded entrepreneurship? You look at agriculture, for example, the women that work in the NACO. How do we add value into their work and what they do? So these are ways in which we can support our human capital. Gambia doesn't have mineral resources, unfortunately, in abundance like other countries. But what we have is our people. And we must be able to invest in our people to see how best do we push them forward. But unfortunately, the political class is not ready to do this, because they believe that the only way they can continue to control us is by by suffering us, by making sure that we become destitute, so they can push the strings. Again, when you look at how democracy has continued to thrive in developed countries and developing countries, it gives you an idea of what we're talking about. Or even in our context, you look at rural communities and how they say, mandumai them against Ngu, because they believe that if they go against the government, they lose favors. Because they believe that even during the by-election we had in Masembe, the campaign was based on the fact that if you vote for the government, if you vote for the government's candidate, we bring you favors. If you don't, the opposition cannot give you development. So these are the the realities we are faced with. And this is what UMC is trying to change. We need to change the type of politics we have in our country. But again, empowering women cannot just be based on lip service. You look at what is budgeted for women in the budget. Look at the youth budget, for example. How are we going to improve and expand the position of these minority groups if we don't offer solutions? You look at the social services, for example. You look at sovereign security. You look at food security. You look at you look at education. You look at health. The women and young people are the people that are suffering. So until we are able to empower and enhance these services that we are offering to the people, we'll continue to face challenges like this, where people, especially in constituencies, are reduced to, like you mentioned, cheerleaders, because they feel that the only way they can make it out of the suffering they face is by running after politicians and by getting handouts from them.
And Kemo, my last question to you today would be elections, the results. All this hinge on a very credible process in itself. Credible in the sense that those who run the elections must be found to be credible.
Yeah.
There was a report, a police report, investigation, that millions of Gambian dollars of the IEC were found in private bank accounts of members of the IEC, including those that are currently serving.
Yeah.
What would your movement, which will eventually become a political party, you said, early next year or by the end of the year, what would it do in concert with other political parties to ensure that the elections that we will have in 2026 will be one that is credible, where the results would reflect the will of the Gambian people, and anything that would undermine its credibility would be dealt with head on?
It's a very grand question, and it's a difficult one to answer. But I mean, again, I personally believe that elections in Gambia are a very tricky one, because our issues with elections in Gambia are not even on voting day, but it's a process that leads to, the election. Because I believe that the marble system is a very unique system that we have in the Gambia, and I am one of the advocates that have said, even if we're going to have diaspora voting, it needs to be a hybrid system. But the institution itself has been marred with a lot of controversies, like you mentioned, and it's a source of concern and a source of worry. And I believe we must be able to look at it. Personally, with the appointment of people like Mr. Cherno Jallo, for example, who I know to be an individual of great character, at least it has increased our confidence in the body. But again, even the European Union report of the last 2021 election showed that there were a lot of irregularities that happened within the electoral process. One is, for example, we've seen how minors and underage Gambia or underage were registered to vote. We also saw how people who were not eligible to vote were also given an opportunity to vote. We also saw how the government used some of these state apparatuses and facilities to enhance the ruling party's chances of winning. So these are all things that the Electoral Watch report have shown. And since then, we haven't seen any progress that has been made by the Electoral Commission. We hope going forward, we still have a year to go, a lot of these things will be corrected. But like you mentioned, using that as a way of trying to trap the new IEC chairman. I do understand the system that we have found ourselves in, especially considering that we are a very cash-based economy. And this is not an excuse for anyone, but if cash is being transported up country and it has to be put in accounts to pay some of the staff, I do understand that it will be deposited in accounts. But there should have been a better way of handling cash, especially taxpayers' money. But we are faced with a situation where today the appointed, chairman of the Electoral Commission is someone that has been already marred with controversies. and it puts us oppositions at a very tricky position. Now, how we come together again is by uniting forces. Again, unite. This is why we are the answer to the questions that Gambians are asking. Everything we do as a country now has to be based on unity. And as oppositions, we must be able to come up with solutions that we can tackle some of these issues we're faced with. I, for example, have seen what someone like APP Sobea with Esafal are doing. They challenged, the IEC at the calendar declaration. And we want to see things like that. We want to see oppositions to also take center stage. It's not just about going after each other. It's about staying afloat issues and making sure that the what matters is being discussed and we're able to come up with a solution with it.
So I guess, I have the last questions, Pasamba, based on the, right?
You have, you have 2 questions, not cut into 10, but 2 direct questions.
Kemo, it's been really very refreshing. Whether one supports you or not, nobody is going to question your maturity and intellect. It's just the honest to God truth. I've been saying this, even people say that I don't like UDP. When you were UDP, I always said, there are people smart and measured. Yourself, I've always said that. And Almamital is another person. And there was a comparison that was made about Kemo Bojang and Sirif Mustafa Diba. I really want you to kind of respond to it, but let me lay out the question first. Because Yima Pasamba teasing me saying that I was with Jawara in 1962. The reality is I'm old enough to see SM Diba in action. I could say I sort of know him. I've seen him on campaigns and things like that. And I've seen him forming his own political party called the NCP. And I think that was the reference that you were making. And he was
exactly
a betrayer. But then they mock you. They say, no, they Hamud Bopam.
Exactly.
But you know what? If truth is to be told, I know SM Diba would be smiling even with that comparison. Honestly.
Thank you.
Anyone
really
Lalawa,
appreciate that.
who is really reasonable, and you've been there and you've seen SM Diba's, as a man, as a politician, and you've seen Kemo Bojang as a man, as a politician, and his potential, and you think Nendobi Hamud Bopam, then you don't really know what you're talking about, or you're very dishonest. SM Diba
Thank you
was
very much. It's an absolute honor.
And our independence, yes. But you making that reference, I'll just allow you to,
yes. So what I like to do and what I've learned during my time at the PPSA, which is the Political Parties Strengthening Academy, is that you use controversies at your advantage. So for example, my referencing of SM Diba was that how the NCP was formed. And I said the UDP that we all used to ascribe to was formed by majority people of the NCP. And at the time, if the NCP they formed wasn't seen as a betrayal to the PPP, our forming of a movement today cannot be seen as a betrayal to the UDP. Now, they mentioned people with very limited political history and knowledge came out to say, yeah, but SM Diba left because his brother Kutubo Diba got into the Butut scandal. SM Diba didn't leave by then. SM Diba was VP, but left, was reassigned, and he became minister in cabinet. But I studied history at the UTG and Gambian history to be particular. SM Diba before he left got into a lot of conflict with people like Sir Aliu Jack, and also and others like and other leaders within cabinet or within the party of PPP. And you cannot deny the fact that ambition was the reason he left the PPP.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ambition was the reason he left. So this is what I'm saying, that we have also taken a similar trajectory. And ours is not based on betrayal, but it's based on ambition and bravery. That we're charting our own path, and we hope more young Gambians will get into the political field and change the trajectory of this country. Now, they said I tried to to align myself or compare myself to SM Deba. It's an honor. But what they don't know is that SM Deba is my one of my maternal grandfathers, actually. One of my grandmothers, Chakundin Deba, who was married to my grandfather, is a sister to SM Deba. So this is, these are things they don't know. But when they started mocking me and calling me Junior SM Deba, I cropped my photo with SM Deba together and posted it and showed them that you are trying to mock me with this, but this is actually an honor for me, because someone of his, of his caliber and someone of his stature is someone that I aspire to become. So, and for me, in this political field we're in, I'm ready to take in whatever, because I believe that when I was getting into politics, I knew what it came with, and I'm ready to, hold on to it, and I'm ready and willing to take everything that it comes, because I believe that what is coming at the end will be greater and will also be sweeter.
Thank you very much, Komo. Final question. Kemo, the movement, they've created a lot of hope, excitement, and yakar. And if there is one thing that you can say about your party that you left, the United Democratic Party, or parties like DOI, they have resilience. And when things are really bad, they did not walk away. We've seen other parties that just crop up today during election time, and when things don't go out as planned, we don't hear from them anymore. What would happen if the movement launched a party? Things didn't turn out the way they were supposed to. Expectations were high. Results come out, they 5%, 6%, 7%. Will that be the end of the movement? Do you have the resilience like the United Democratic Party? Even when things are bad, you pick up the pieces and said, we're moving on. Or is this just, like a one shot at it and see how it's going to land? Can you kind of delve into that there's a lot more to the movement than just 2026, win or lose?
Like you've mentioned, the UDP is a very resilient party, and we learn from the UDP. We're from the UDP. So we're as resilient as the UDP. And this movement is not just a movement for 2026. It's an institution that we're building that is going to revolutionize the country's politics, that is going to change the country's politics. And its survival and its push will be held to the best of our ability and to make sure that it continues to serve its purpose. And I can assure you that for decades and years to come, this party that we're building will be here, that we will succeed, our children will succeed, and their children will succeed, inshallah.
Thank you very much, Kemo. Like they said, Talib Moy Kemo, Kemo Moy Talib. Brother Marong, I'll let you tell you. My brother. Go ahead. Yeah,
at least I'm very happy, Kemo, you can find your lineage to Badibu, which is very, very great. That's awesome, man. That's really awesome. Right? No one can take that away from you, right?
I'm a Badibunka Barindo, so yeah.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. Very proud of you. Very proud of you. All right. So guy, I want to ask you these questions. Can you list at least 2 leadership qualities that you like about Talib Ahmed Bensouda, and 2 leadership qualities that you like about your former party leader, Lawyer Usainu Dabo?
I like that question.
I think like Musa has mentioned, Mr. Dabo is a very resilient leader, and he's a leader that has really faced the test of time, and he has done best for the country, and I think that his resilience is one thing that people really appreciate. He has also been and also he's a person that really looks at everybody equally, and I think this is where he gets his love from. And for me, these are things that I have been able to learn from him. But when it comes to Talib, Man, I've written this in 2023. I said this guy is the greatest leader our generation has been able to produce, and this is a fact. I believe in it, and I think the post is still on Facebook, and I'll check it out. But I believe that he's very hardworking, and he's very dedicated, and he's very focused. And I think one of the biggest strengths he has had is the focus, because even when you look at it and how people continue to keep attacking him and people continue to call him names and everything, he always focuses on what he's got to do and he gets it done. For me, I think that is something that really stands out for me when it comes to Talib. The other thing is how hardworking he is. He knows, what he's up to. He does his best to get it done, and I believe we have seen that with some of the things that we have done at KMC. I like to say that we are the trendsetters in local government in the Gambia. Everything any other council is doing today, KMC has done when we came. And this is a fact. This is not even trying to diminish anybody's light, but I believe he is a trendsetter and he's a pace setter and he has done that. So I believe that we will be able to see the best, in Talib, and I believe the best is yet to come. And like I mentioned, we learned a lot from our former party, and we'll always be grateful for that. But now we have a new mission, and our mission is to salvage the Gambia and to make sure that the Gambian people are centered in whatever decision we are made. Thank you.
All right. So, but the last and final question. That is, Kemo, you still have your cousins. Yes, you got the cousins in the yellow camp. Might not see eye to eye, but what would be your message to the cousin? They're watching you. A lot of them are watching. I'm sure are commenting too. So what? Huh?
Watching. Sutu Dafe is watching. And Zola too.
So what would be your core message? Because Kemo, being in your party for many years, I think it's your right to get into a movement. But what would be your core message to your people? And one thing I would point out, exceptionally, that warmed my heart is I saw Binet Bojan and Ramatullah, my sister, had lunch together. They were both in there. Binet is in the movement. Ramatullah is a diehard supporter of UDP. But at the end of the day, they got together and they had lunch and they shared presentaries. So my question to you is, what would be your message closing for our cousins and the people that you work with hand in hand for many years? What would be that message, Fab?
I just want to say I think the UDP needs to evolve, and they need to realize that nobody can do it alone and nobody is an island. It is important to show strength, but it's also important to be strategic. Emotions alone do not get the job done. You need everybody to also be on your side to get it done. And for the longest of time, I mean, even for example, when I resigned and I spoke to someone, I was like, damn, I don't know what happened to the UDP and how they've come out to attack me and insult me. He said, no, they haven't changed. It's the same, but you're just on the receiving end today, so so things like that are things that I think they need to work on. Rebranding is also very important. What the party hasn't been able to do a good job in is to rebrand its leader and to rebrand the party and to make sure that it is seen as as an option. Unfortunately, if you're in the UDP, your notion and belief is that the whole country is UDP. But there are people that I speak to now, I thought were supporters of the UDP, but they came out blankly and told me, bro, we voted for Barrow in 2021 because of so and so and so. Now they can tell me because I'm not within the party anymore. But I mean, I do still believe that, like every other political party, they are an important factor, but humility is something that we also need to look at. And I believe that nobody can do it alone. We need everybody to come, onto the table. But that's my advice based on the question you've asked. But generally, I just want to say that I want to thank you all because I believe that the media plays an important part in getting our message across. We're marketers. We're marketing a product, which is the UMC or our political ideologies and our political parties. We need platforms like this to sell to the Gambian people. Granted, yes, I can go house to house and campaign, but for example, if I if I show up to this program today, at least I can believe that I've reached 2 to 3,000 Gambians with, sitting at home. And I like to say that platforms like these are very important because they expand our democracy. They also give us an opportunity to exchange ideas and to see how best can we, move forward. So I hope going forward that we will be able to have more conversations like this, and I hope oppositions in the Gambia will be able to work and focus on the things and the issues that matter. And I just want to say, I just saw Abubakar Drame's comment that I got a lot of praises granted, but I did also get a lot of insults, and I did get a lot of name calls, and that is normal. I don't have a problem with it. But my answer is to Sariang's question of what I'll advise the UDP, and that's just what I'm putting across. But it's again, take criticism, another advice, because his response shows that he's not taking criticism well. And for me, that's something I've learned. I don't, people come on my post, they disagree, I'm like, okay, go ahead. Because my message is not just for you. My message is for the Gambian people. And I hope we can go forward with that and we can sit one day and we can see how best can can we push this country forward.
Well, sum up, succinct, and I hope
much.
everyone listened with an open mind. But we appreciate your time, Kemo, and it's been an
Thank you
honor
very
to
much.
have you today to have these conversations. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep Gambia at the forefront, and let's engage. I think it's good for democracy. It's good for the change that we are yearning on. So appreciate your time. I think you are well suited for this position, and you need to put your foot on the pedals, man, and gas it up. So let's do it.
The movement is
Thank
proud
you very
of you.
much. Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing. Definitely. The movement well.
Thank you.
Hey, it's all about hope. And we're banking on the movement. Things are gonna happen. Definitely.
Hope is never a strategy. But you know what?
And also, we don't want to see what is the party name? Dr. Caesar's party. What is his name?
CA.
Yeah, the cousins are calling you CA 2.0. So I hope you can.
I mean, that's what I told someone. So they were like, you're not gonna make progress. I'm like, yeah, and I like the underdog story. I like it when people underrate me because it just takes off the pressure, and it just lets me do what I wanna do. And then when I get success, I get success.
So, Kemo, I'm gonna share this with you. I ran into a veteran politician here in Atlanta. Mutesu Mambagabi. Munama Yensen Party B. Munako no, nega good party there. It's just a movement. Munama no, I want to write this down. Munako, what am I gonna write down? Munama 10% sa dolen koromba. Munako Kusta tagut nga joguma 10%.
10%, exactly. Saka suma dore nak.
Man, I'm happy. He kept looking
definitely.
at me. I'm like, I'm really happy. You haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I 2% I know CA.
Yeah, and another point, I'm going to bari deng one. Wow, okay, yen dengan popular urban Gambia, but rural Gambia again popular wood. You'll be surprised that even most of our traction and most of our action has been happening in the rural Gambia. The setting up of the structures and everything in rural Gambia. You look at it is a more open lunki. And I'm just I'm just hoping, things take a good turn and then you keep on going, we're very hopeful.
Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I call people in Kauru Dandimayo, and these were people that voted for APRC and also voted for Barrow. And this is what he said. You think all areas they don't know what's up? You're mistaken. I'm telling you, 2026 is a whole different ball game. And hey,
Amen.
Everything is said and done. Whoever wins, wins. The people, as long as they become the decider, that's what matters.
That's it. Exactly. That's it.
Win or lose. That's all we can do. And again, Kemo, we thank you immensely for joining us, my brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you,
well.
Ola.
Run yourself
Thank
well.
you.
And you are
Thank you.
going
Bye.
movement or no movement. You
Thank
as
you.
an individual, you're going places. Take it from
Thank
me.
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Come on.
Thank you.
It's been, it's been a good one.
Yeah, it's been, he holds his own,
It's stop some.
Yep. Even though there were people trying to help him when he didn't need the help and
Nope.
trying to ask, oh, let me ask you this question. I just want yes and no, so that I will ask you the question.
The preamble. That's all I need. Yes or no.
If Banker
Yes,
had
yes
done
or
that,
no.
No, Marong. Be like, I was not helping him. I wanted to get to the meat and grit of.
but you could have asked those questions separately.
No. Bobo, it's just one combo question where I said,
Yeah,
yes,
so
no,
combo questions him up. and then sorry, and what he would do, whenever he was not fully satisfied with the answer given, that would be the preamble to the question that he was going to ask.
I know, Father Boss. I was just giggling and watching and enjoying the show, man.
You
That
know,
was like, there you go, man.
Any help? You know it, and I know it. I'm telling you,
You're gonna help yourself.
He has become seriously in terms of party parole. Somebody speaking for a party. Really, I mean, I've seen them all. I mean, he's one of the best. You would agree with me.
Yeah,
Spokesperson of no person. You wanted to get it. Being the spokesperson of an entity.
One day, lunyo wani.
Onyalem.
No, nanko walum pasamba wadi. Nang by guy. What to you make that decision. You don't inject that into people.
Of the interview, post analysis, Marong.
Post analysis, post and what is the thing? Lamin Tarawale, come down, give your polling, man. How did Musa Yen beat today? Because he has major violation upon major. I want you, yes or no. And I was like, where are we going with this?
Yeah, I'm like, where are we going with this? Yes or no? I just know. Yes or no, or just this thing. Because I have a question. I'm like,
yeah.
But this guy, no, Pasava,
this guy what?
Never buy favorite.
So you're talking about Jammeh announcing that he is coming. You are the government in waiting. You want to run for office. How are you going to deal with him? Are you going to play your political game and be,
alliance thing and how you like,
listen, that is as important as anything else in our body politics, and we'll continue to ask that.
But 2026 is about the future. And the focus.
But you cannot deal with the future without dealing with the past, and especially in our case.
Movement is to focus on the future. You are looking at new generation of leaders. They want to steer the ship. What we have not been able to do, going all the way back to 1960. These young people are trying to do just that. So they can't do it.
No, I want to see a 2.0 73%.
I didn't see that.
Muna CA 2.0, 73%. So,
brother man. But thanks for all our viewers. And we want to thank also, this Diaspora Health, really. I think the country needs something like that, Pasama. We are talking a little bit about it because, again, giving the importance of the role that the diaspora can play, not only in politics, but in every sector that is out there. And this is, of course, Dr. Baji tried it before, and I think they're still there doing their thing. And I'm sure there are other efforts being launched. I understand that Raki Koro Sisebi was doing something similar to this, differently though, going on the ground and making a difference.
He goes with the teams. He's been doing that forever.
Dr. Ndau.
There's Dr. Ndau too.
In England.
There's a youngs Jabi in England too. He does it. We actually work with him to get the people to Sintet for mobile clinic stuff. So I think the fundamental coach already said it. Don't see diaspora as competitive. I think that it can compensate government's effort, and when it comes to healthcare, especially, I would be glad to work with Minister of Health to ensure that the gaps are filled. They can't do it alone, but that's where we need to be partners, not seen as diaspora, against the government. Like that's what they say. I think it's a lost cause. Yeah.
That's what Suntu. I like that. But Fat Sise, I believe that's Juka asking. She wants to know what's up with Doi. Let me tell you that Doi they are as constant as the northern stars. We've not moved an inch. Wherever we were, that's where we are. We'll continue to do our politics. Very, very clean politics. It's not, we're not going to be insulting anybody. We're going to engage in policy discussion. And it is up to the Gambian people to decide whether they want us or not. We're not going to force anybody to vote for us. We're not going to give anybody a penny to vote for us. We're not going to induce anybody to vote for us. But, we'll want all our votes to be based on consent. And it's up to the Gambian people. Whenever they feel that they are satisfied. And this is why when elections are over, we don't go complaining or accusing anybody of stealing it or anything. We accept the will of the Gambian people. We may explain why we did poorly, and that's it. And this is why, since its inception, it will remain still one of the most, if not the most credible political party in the history of this country. That's where Doi is. That's what's happening with Doi. We are still being Doi.
What say you to that, Musa, again? The coach
No, what say? Look, this third rail that we are talking about, I think Doi can bring a lot of credibility to it. Now this talk of 3%, 4%, 5%, there's a lot more to elections than that. And I think 2016, Jammeh was defeated, and nobody would doubt the contribution from Doi and Halifa Saleh. I mean, when he speaks, Gambian listen, even when they don't vote for him. So for me, I would like to see a third rail that Doi is part of. That is, if we cannot have a complete coalition with UDP and everybody else in it, if the option becomes only the third rail, I think Doi will play a very, very critical role for it to be successful. To do it without Doi, I'm not saying it will not be successful, but it's going to make, should I say, the climbing much steeper and much more difficult. With Doi, because when Halifa speaks, people listen. And that's all I can say.
Musa, there was something that Wajuwara used to say during the NAD thing. Now, if you claim that you have the longest rope, let's say your rope is 6 feet, but you want to fetch water from an 8 feet well. Your rope will only be useful if you can find the other 2 feet or 3 feet to be able to fetch that water. You can have 6 feet, but unless you can reach that water, you have not had a complete rope. And this is where coalition building becomes important. Because as it stands, Barrow, under normal circumstances, should not win anybody's elections.
Definitely.
And if there is one lesson that the opposition should learn, is that crazy 92-year-old man who does not even know his name. Chances are he's every day would live in Fumneka diapers Lysol because Koko Uramane. He does not even know where he is. He was able to win, of course, with Stachabe everything, because of he went after, he competed against 3 or 4 other candidates. So you had the vote split. If they had come together as one, he would have been defeated. And the other lesson, Musa, we were in this for a very long time.
Of course.
From 2003, when NAD was conceived, and they started going to those by-elections.
We were winning. Yes.
Winning. And you look at the popular votes, NAD was winning.
Yes.
That forced Jammeh to say, you know what, we want to have that conversation. Do you remember when Obasanjo came to Gambia?
Yes.
And you know what was the reason for that? We need to have understanding, or the way we are treated. So if I were to lose, how would I be treated?
Exactly.
For the first time. And because Jammeh had always banked on this idea,
yes,
the UDP and Doi will never be able to come together.
Absolutely.
And what did he do? Cleverly. He decided and waited. They came here, the tour that they went and all that, and said, you know what, wait. I'm going to arrest all the other leaders. I'm going to leave Wa and Useno outside because I know they will never be able to see eye to eye.
Ahmad Ba, OJ, Khalifa, they were
Ahmad
all...
Ba, Khalifa, OJ were all arrested. And that became the unraveling of NAD. The last elections, Jammeh lost by about 18,000 votes.
Yes.
And it was because when they finally realized if you all come together, the people will see force and say, you know what, this is a force. They did not care. They didn't know Adama Barrow.
Nope.
Adama Barrow can call himself the lion killer and all that. Nobody knew him.
No.
If Musa Jeng was the candidate, Musa Jeng would have won.
Landslide.
If Sarian was the candidate, Sarian would have won.
Landslide.
If Juka was the candidate, he would have won. But because of the unity, we were able to get it. And this coalition thing, maybe we will have one day to discuss this coalition thing. The Gambian coalition building is different from Senegal's.
Totally different.
Because Senegal has second round of voting. Those who are saying Macky Sall in the Gambian context would have never been the candidate.
Possible.
Because his party was new. Niasse was there.
Mustafa Niasse.
The guy, yes, the dark-skinned guy. What's his name? Idrissa Seck. They were there. But they went to an election with all their 159,000 parties.
Yes.
And Macky was able to do... Macky had about 20-something% of the vote.
27, 28.
Yes.
Got about 40-something%.
Yes. But then everybody came and surrounded and said, you know what, let's go. In the Gambia, we do not have second round of voting. And so that is why you cannot say, you know what, oh, this party has to lead it. No, our situation is completely different. If you have second round of voting, everybody goes. Whoever gets second, that's a no-brainer. That's why ours is a lot more complicated. But, you know,
that's why Boubacar went on this platform and he was making comparisons that got me furious. I'm like, dude, you are comparing apples and oranges. I mean,
listen, Boubacar is a strategist. He's a proven strategist.
No, you know what? I'm biased like everybody else. But at least let's stick to the truth, to the facts.
Boubacar is a strategist, a proven strategist.
What we have in Senegal, a second round of voting. How many times have I come on this platform saying I want that as an insurance policy? 50
no,
plus.
you did. You did.
I did that because my thing was when we get into a situation, Bohamne, is difficult, then the fact that we have second round of voting, that will eliminate that problem. But
you said it, even though it didn't stick, but you did say that.
I did say it. I'm like, Gologu neka demal bopam. And then the first two, then it will be much easier to come and form a coalition at the second round. That's how easy, babe. But that's not where we are. Where we are now is every party, just like I told Kemo, every party believes that your guy is the most electable. It's a very subjective thing. You can find a way by saying it. You can believe whatever you want to believe. Now, if you want to say, let's come together and form a coalition, I think the first thing that you need to do is be humble, but show respect to the other partners. Because, Sarian, if I tell you, let's come together, mala disrespect, you know what you're going to do? You're going to give me the finger. I'm telling you, that's how people are going to react. It's just human. So the first thing that is needed is let's respect each other. Let's sit down. Now, the UDP version, having 27% of voters, they have every right to claim ñom ñoko wara lead. And that should not be dismissed or to be disrespected. Because they have a lot of votes. If they don't vote for a coalition, most likely it will not work. That's the truth. But at least let's have a conversation based on respect. And not based on lies. Now, there is this talk, if you go back to Pasamba 2001, when they had the coalition talks at the YMCA, UDP always like the largest party. But at that time, they were against that because Sirif Mustafa Diba was making the same argument. Then if you look at the numbers, they were the ones getting the 30-something% against Jawara. He was the leading figure in the opposition. So if anybody is going to lead a coalition, it should be him. That was the argument, SM Diba was making. Omar Amadou Jallo, Aknyom Husseinu, they dismissed that. They're like, this is not about the numbers. It's about the reality of the moment. And what happened? The guy walked away. He ended up with 1% or 2%. So, what am I saying? Sometimes you have to look at that, but you also have to look at the reality of the moment. The pulse of the electorate that has to be put into consideration. But again, when everything is said and done, it has to be based on truth, humility, sit down, and we all like to talk about putting Gambia first. My friend, for heaven's sake, let's put Gambia first then. But let's have the conversation. You know,
the strategist is talking. Hey, your boy absent. He says you didn't say anything about Jammeh returning to Gambia, and he's been sending messages and say, what do you guys have to talk about that, Musa? What do you have to? You can close by that. At least talk about the guy is depressed. His voice is all cracked. He's lonely.
Who knows? Maybe he's dying and wants to die in the Gambia. So
yes, that's all it is.
If I quote him, I mean, every year, but who's stopping you?
The planes are there. The planes are there, and the airport is wide open, man.
So that's not true. What is not true?
What is that?
This guy, I'm talking about 2001. 2001. I'm not talking about 1996. Wasn't SM Diba basically? I mean, Nakalenko Oye
banned.
He banned.
Yes,
he was banned. So the attempted for the coalition was in 2001.
Yeah, the first coalition, because the UDP was a coalition.
UDP was a coalition of NCP and PPP. So
and GPP.
And GPP, an organic coalition, because so what they did was they went behind the scenes and formed a party called UDP to counter the APRC. In 2001, that was when the ban was already lifted. That's when SM Diba came out of retirement and said, you guys should all come and support me because I have the largest party. That was the argument that he was making at that coalition talks at the YMCA. Suntu, these are the facts. Tell
him, Musa. Tell him.
So Jammeh Senior has Sidinjaya ko jël ci airport bi.
You have to buy tickets for Jammeh. I'm telling you, my brother, this guy is not coming anywhere. Seriously.
I am telling you, man, the airspace is wide open and Gambia will be Gambia. Yundum International Airport. So he's Jammeh Jilanka, the dictator of Gambia. Let him get on the flight and get on to Kanila and claim his properties down there. That's it.
Okay. Nobody is stopping him, my friend. Let him come. What is this man saying again? Yes.
No, why we need Suntu Dafe here.
Do you know 2000 had to rely on the 1990s election results? Yeah, nah. Nobody else was. I
gotta go, man. I got so.
All right, guys. We will be back, Brother Marong, next day, inshallah.
Inshallah, you did well. You hold your own, but sometimes you get too excited. But it's all good though, for good reasons. So it's all good.
Why I'm gonna laugh about my final pick? Sorry, man, you're far. We will be back.
Amen.